we will start in our little cozy, as much as it can be, for the end of the world town of Havenbrook. It is a very resilient community. You're nestled amidst kind of rolling hills. There's a river that flows a little lazily on the outskirts, giving you all some fresh water. There's mountains in the distance that stand tall and snow covered. The birds still kind of chirp from the trees, though it's getting a little quieter because there is this bitter winter chill in the air. You got to get that like sniff of like, oh shit, it's going to snow soon. But thankfully, we're a year past the apocalypse, the end of the world as we knew it. But your small town rallied very quickly. While your numbers dwindled greatly, you've been able to wall off a section of the city. You have been able to keep up crops. Everyone's kind of jumped in and all hands on. So you've got some power. You've got food in the freezer. Crops have been already harvested. You should have enough stores, to get you till that next. Maybe there's, some somewhere, maybe one of the rooms of y'all's big movie theater central survival location has some heat lamps going where you have some other like fruits and vegetables going to kind of help supplement the bigger crops for the rest of the year. But it's a struggle, but everybody kind of rallied here. And our camera's going to kind of dip in to Havenbrook, where we see that makeshift wall that kind of encircles a good portion of the town here that centers around this movie theater that I talked about kind of being the original place of holding up and protecting yourselves. It's kind of the border has grown a bit to encompass a few more buildings, maybe a couple apartments, some of the houses, enough for people to kind of live with a roof over their head, at least. The town is abuzz with some activity. We'll say it's kind of mid-morning or so. You have kind of whoever's on that morning watch is patrolling the perimeter, kind of keeping an eye out. Other residents are going about their daily routines, whether it be their various jobs or maybe meeting up in front of the theater for the last bits of a morning meal. I would assume you maybe have some people that will do a little bit more of a communal breakfast, lunch, dinner, some sort of time there, also to help with like the food stores. And you've got that, like I said, crisp air, your breath's a little visible. What do I want to start with? I think let's start with Navaar. This is your game. Let's start with your character first. As our little camera kind of wanders through the streets here and takes a look at everyone's daily lives, what would be a mid-morning thing that you would be doing? And when you kind of describe what your character looks like in the process.
Okay, yeah. I think that after getting up and eating some breakfast, I think that he would just kind of like do a little perimeter around the town. And I think that he's found a way to access the roof of the movie theater. And so he just kind of goes up there and under the guise of like taking watch, he's just going to like sit one leg hanging off the side of the building and just be writing notes. He has this like leather bound journal that he's just been writing in with sort of this promise he knows he can't keep to himself about writing a new book that people can read. But he just can't help himself. He just has to put these ideas down. But yeah, Demetrius is about 5'11". He has dark skin. He wears a goatee. He has a short afro, and he's pretty leanly built. Looks like somebody who like probably didn't exercise a lot throughout their life, and then over the past couple of years, like started to do different kinds of training as he did research for his book. He also has on his face these two scars that go down in sort of this ragged line that he got from fighting one of the corrupted, and as its nails kind of drug across his face. I think that he is wearing like a little bit oversized sweatshirt, just this old, like, property of like the local school there sweatshirt. and he has some jeans on, and he's just kind of carries all of his stuff, his knife, his machete, his guns, and he has his pack like set to the side.
You're sitting up there, that, like I said, that chill breeze, but it's starting to get a little overcast as clearly this kind of storm is kind of coming in, or not storm, but snow clouds are coming in over the mountains here. You can hear the sounds of people talking down below, but you're otherwise in a pretty nice, quiet, peaceful area because there's not any highway traffic. Yeah, there's no planes flying overhead. You don't have any of those other things. Maybe there's like the hum of some of the generators and things that maybe got put up here or nearby that you're hearing. But otherwise, you are pretty quiet and kind of in your own world until you kind of hear like birds chirping, but kind of like, you know, a bunch of them like fly off at the same time, kind of in a bit of a start in the tree line, just about, 200 yards from the edge of the city, where the trees start to kind of get a little thicker in that area. And you kind of look over and you see them kind of move, and a few others kind of fly off, but otherwise it's pretty quiet. Is there anything in particular?
Yeah, I think he knows that means something. Like he's probably written a scene like that before. And so I just want to see, like, is there anything that I can parse through, the trees or anything from that area that'll give me an indication of what the birds were flying from?
Yeah. Hey, let's maybe get our first roll as you're trying to kind of get in a little more. I would say I would allow either like an alertness or a survival, depending on kind of maybe how you're looking. If you're trying to think, like you're trying to just look through, if you're trying to think more in that sense of like, this is where people go and how things move,
Yeah, I think alertness would probably be just like, he's just scanning the area to see. What ability do you want me to roll with alertness?
Oh, that's right. It's been like ages since I've actually played a game that you have to pair them together. I would say probably a judgment, if we're trying to kind of see if there's danger, if there's something there, not just birds decided they were going to fly, because birds do that sometimes.
All right, so Demetrius has a +2 judgment and a +3 alertness. So that is a natural 20 for the first roll.
It's a good sign, y'all. This is a good sign.
That's a bad sign to me. The roll goes out now. In the moment we'll need them in the combat, we're not going to get it.
It's bad. Don't worry. That's when the stress comes in.
Low lows, yeah. Mm-hmm. You kind of move over to the edge here, and you're looking a little closer, and you watch as some of the, I feel like since we kind of decided that we're getting a little closer to the mountains, we're in kind of the foothills, but you probably have some of like the bigger, thicker pine trees, those other ones. Palm trees don't make sense in the mountains. But also those like a little bit thinner cottonwoods and birch trees that can move a bit more. And you notice like one of them kind of jostles a bit. Like magic, the generators kind of cut off on their just general cycle of like the solar's kicking in. You don't need that as much now, kind of morning on their time here. And you hear a low hum still. And you start to see that some of the people on the patrols are starting to look a bit more as you see the flash of what looks to be a headlight through some of the trees. But in front of that, the first thing you see are two of these corrupted creatures combusting out of the tree lines. They look to be like were bigger people in their day. And you can see just that, like, they've been turned for a hot minute, as their whole head is just this like inky black tendrils that kind of like roll all around. And you hear now this like piercing scream let out from one of them in the front.
Okay.
But they are far enough away that you've gotten a head start on whatever this might have been.
Okay. So they are running in our direction.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. And there's a vehicle behind them?
So it seems, yes.
That's not good. Okay. I think first and foremost, like, I don't think he understands, like, if they're running this direction, they already are going to either like stay on path or they're going to hear us soon enough. So there's no point in like being quiet now. So I think he's going to like roll off the side, back onto the roof, quickly stuff his journal into his bag and grab one of his rifles. We'll just say like it's like a bolt action hunting rifle, and is going to, do you think that we would have like walkie-talkies in our space?
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like, especially if you're coming up here, it would have been one of those things. You're like, I'm going on watch, grab one.
Yeah.
You know. Okay.
Yeah. So I think he'll just kind of walk you down and just to whomever's on the channels and just be like, hey y'all, we got some corrupted coming in from across the parking lot, and there seems to be some kind of vehicle behind him as well. I'm gonna start taking shots here, but we might lock up the building and everybody get ready.
Okay. Real quick.
And yeah, I would like to take a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Take our first shot here.
Okay.
I assume you have your points in long rifles, seeing as you have a long rifle.
Yep. I have 2. And then, so typically guns are done with agility, but if you want me to do a different one, I can do a different one.
Nope, agility sounds good to me.
Okay, so this will be a +3 for me.
Nice.
That is against the wall there and not helpful. That's against, come on. That is not good. So I got a 5 + 3 is 8, a fail.
A failure. Oh boy, you missed. Take 2 stress, and GM is granted 1 light threat point. Thank you. Add that little guy to my little list here. I will probably ask a ton of questions to make sure I get the threat points right, but I've got what I think my starting combat should be. So
You're good.
We're adding, but also it helps anyone watching, so y'all know how to play. Look, that's why we do these things. Yeah. Okay, you aim in. Oh yeah, go ahead.
So one other thing I have to do because I shot my gun is roll for wasted bullets, which I believe is going to be at D. This is so bad. Wasted bullets when I have a +2 is a D8. So I'm gonna roll a D8, and that's how many shots I take that don't hit anything, which is absolutely miserable. Here we go.
Luckily, no one else saw this, so it's just you on the roof. You clearly shot everything. There were 12 of them. I got 8 of them, guys.
Yeah,
I rolled a 1. So it's just the one bad shot, thankfully.
That's good. Yeah. So you pop off a couple. The first one you see just kind of goes off and nails a tree, like right in the middle of like the one of the knots of the birch. Looks like you meant to do it. Whereas then the second one looks like it is lined up right on one of those corrupted's heads as they just like, are rambling. So it moves out of the way. Let's jump down. I was probably maybe to the pawn shop. We'll say that's in this kind of area. So that of town here. And you would definitely have a radio. But I know, one, we have a relative. I don't know if you would be there, or we also have someone who originally lived above the pawn shop. Would either of your characters, Blair or Mark J, also be at the pawn shop or in this area at this time as well?
I was thinking I'd still be at the movie theater.
Okay.
I'm guessing this isn't a question that we asked, but I'm guessing we have like bunks like set up like at
there's probably some in the theater. There's some of these apartments that have maybe been revamped to have a few beds per apartment, so it's not like a single family or a single person home anymore, you know.
Gotcha. Yeah, then she's probably there.
You think you're in that area, Mark J?
And I would say I'm in one of the apartment buildings with someone who's acquiring my services for the morning, but I'm off duty on security, so I have my radio on me. So
okay,
I definitely would have heard that call out.
Perfect. Well, then we will start with the pawn shop. What will you explain to us, Paul, what Darius looks like and what you might be doing as you hear this call? Is there's, you probably have just one of the little radios on here in the pawn shop and then hear the gunshot, kind of what your morning was like there.
So Darius is a bit older. Darius is in like his early 40s. And he's in a small town, early 40s, so he's not aged as well as I have. So he's a little wrinkly on the faces, has crow's feet coming in. But it's morning, so he is probably like cup of coffee. And by cup of coffee, I mean it's the same beans he's had for like he has been rationing his coffee. So it's mostly just brown water at this point in time. But it's, it's ritual. It's what you do in the morning. He's probably sitting at the munitions bench because he probably handles a lot of munitions, and moving a munitions bench from a location rather than building a wall out of it is a pain in the butt. So he's probably at the munitions bench, making more rounds to make sure there's more bullets for everybody, because that's a super important thing to have, and being able to repackage your munitions is super important. I hope our author remembered to save his shell casings, because I don't need to go hunting for brass later. That's the key there. Yeah.
On the roof, at least.
Yeah. We'll get him.
We'll get him. Yeah. So he's probably packing shell case. He's probably packing rounds, and hears it and goes and gets his rifle and heads to whoever would be. You said there's something coming in. He'll ask what direction.
Yeah. Do we have a cardinal direction for it?
Yeah, I mean, you probably have got your corner, just general.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just call it east, and
okay.
yeah. And just say,
I feel like you have the general cardinal directions, but then also for instead of southeast, northeast, it's the winery, the river, the whatever, you've points.
No, he'll ask what direction and start heading there, and then radio whoever's on watch that direction and see what they see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you, as you're starting to move, you get this confirmation from Demetrius. You start to rush out, and I have a list of NPCs, so I didn't have to think about this earlier. I think you see there's Elena. She is kind of like the right hand man that kind of helps with a bit of the security for. Mm-hmm. The perimeter. We also have, obviously, who did we make, Blair? Frank Evans, an older guy who really calls the shots. He kind of keeps it all, but she's the action woman, and she's a bit more spry. And she probably is the first one that's kind of running your direction to make sure that some extra weapons and stuff get grabbed, because a couple of corrupted, you'll probably deal with that pretty frequently. One here or there can take it down, but the fact that there's a car behind and they seem a little unified, something's fishy. And so she was definitely kind of running up your direction to make sure we've got some extra arms and stuff. He will
look at her and ask what we want, because his opinion is somebody's clearly hurting them. If there's a car behind them, they're being hurted at us.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do with the people? What do you want to do with the herders? Are we taking them alive? Are we shooting to kill? What's the call there?
Look, if someone is, I don't know, industrious enough to push them our way, they do not mean us any sort of well-being. If we can take one to ask them any questions, but honestly, I'm not too worried. Frank's not too worried about keeping any of them alive if it means hurting any of us. So do with that what you will.
But the vehicle's running, so it's the primary. So we want to kill the people, but keep the vehicle, I assume, then?
That would be very nice.
Running car.
Absolutely.
Okay.
She has just her eyebrows are very furrowed. She's very serious, a little energetic, like not frazzled by any means, but is like, we gotta get through this, we gotta go, you know. She's like very tall, very weathered, has seen some shit, like has very commanding presence, but is in like rush mode, and is just like, you know, spread it around. I'm gonna grab just a couple of extra rifles if you don't mind. We'll do the math later and make sure things get put back where it's supposed to go.
Sounds good.
And we'll rush in, and you start booking it towards this side of the wall. You know, there are some walkways to get up to look above. There's obviously some bigger kind of gates and things that you can like push up, slide open. However, you'll need to get out. But I think, you know, now is getting the view up, probably, unless you want to bust through on the other side of the wall. That's up to you.
The wall is very defensible. I like being on the wall. If there are any other people on the wall with me, I'll let them know. Corrupted, then the people hurting them, try to keep the vehicle intact if you can.
Perfect.
Like, nobody use a Beowulf and put them around through the engine block. Those are much harder to come by now.
Love it. You rush up and you're starting to see now this same scene, though the vehicle's starting to get a little closer. You're a little lower, so you're not having to deal with as much of like the leaf and tree cover that Demetrius had. So you're able to see a bit more. Like I said, it's getting a little darker. It's getting, those clouds are getting a little fuller, a little heavier. Looks like they're going to just let loose snow at any point in time. But you see these headlights come in, and they look to be not a large vehicle in the way of like a Humvee or anything like more massive, but still very off-road, maybe more like Jeep size. We're not talking dune buggy. We're not talking big. You're in that middle off-road kind of vehicle.
Goddamn Jeep drivers still being obnoxious in this era.
I know. Like they're just rolling over. Like there's probably, especially if this, you know, we'll say that this was a road that came in and out of town, that y'all probably put boulders and logs and things over. So it's like doing its off-road and crawling over a lot of this, obviously very lifted tires. And yeah, you see that it has almost this like, little bucket ram thing, and so if it gets like as the corrupted are going, it will like push them forward, and they have at least enough thought of survival to not get run over by it and keep kind of scrambling forward. But they're starting to kind of creep out of the trees and those bright headlights, but you see that it, like the entire thing is like spray painted. It looks in this just like obnoxious bright blue color with like orange kind of accents all over the place. Surprisingly, orange and blue were the colors of the college in the town next by. Do with that what you will. Would you like to do any shot or any move here before we switch our camera?
I'm gonna take my carbine and I'm gonna take a shot at the corrupted that are coming in. I'll wait. I'll take a deep breath, hold it, and wait to take my shot.
Alrighty.
Are there?
Absolutely.
I did not read all the Normally, I sit down and read all the combat rules, but as this is supposed to be a teaching and learning game, I'm here to ask questions. Are there any bonuses for taking your time and aiming in this game? Is this a go-to?
So here's what I would say. Like, I think if you have a skill, like if your judgment's higher than your agility, then you could argue that maybe of like you're taking the time to like really focus on that shot, and then you have a higher bonus there.
Okay. I don't. My agility is higher than my judgment. So
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So you'll roll your agility plus then whatever your specific
D20 plus 7.
Nice.
And that's a 17, so a 24.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. The bullets wasted are even on hits, correct?
Yes. You still do how many shots you take. So you have what's your
3 agility. And
what's your long rifle?
Long rifle's at 4.
4? Okay. So then you're gonna roll a D10 damage and you roll a D4 for wasted bullets. And your D10 will get doubled because it's a critical success.
I have wasted 1 bullet.
Yeah.
Lucky. Love that. That sounded sarcastic. I truly am. Good job.
So it is 1d10 times 2 or 2d10 take
1d10 times 2. Yeah.
Okay. And that is only a 4, so an 8.
Alrighty. Let me get my guy.
Did not roll great damage.
Just for funsies, you were shooting at the corrupted. Do you want to go after the one on the left or the right? Just for fun.
I'll take the one on the left.
Okay. You come up, take a deep breath, aim in. The first one kind of pings off against this like plow thing on the front of this Jeep. The second one, you are able to hit this corrupted right in the head as it's all a goopy mess, but what looks to be almost a mouth kind of separates to let out that yell again. Right in, and it just flings and just gets run over by the Jeep as you have knocked it down dead. Let me
Joke's on them. Your machine helped us.
With that, let's go over to Marlon. I think that makes the most sense as you have a radio. You've now heard a couple of things. Are you currently hanging out with, you made an NPC, was it Rosa?
Mm-hmm.
Is that who you're with currently?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll say that you're in one of these kind of apartment buildings where they've kind of made each room in the apartments into someone's space, since there's more communal cooking, that sort of thing. So you're probably just like a guest room in like what was an old 3-bedroom kind of apartment building. I will say you're probably up on like 3rd or 4th floor. So if you want to kind of get a view, you get a view. But the radio kind of goes off. It's maybe like muffled under some like clothes or a blanket or something in the corner.
The volume's down a little bit.
Yeah, volume's down a little bit. And I think Rosa kind of perks up first and is like, what is that? And then boom, boom, you hear the shots from above the movie theater.
I think I probably would have in bed. I would have my laptop open, working on my next great novel, and there's nothing on the page. And I'm just dreading life, and I hear the radio and then Demetrius calls it out. I'm like, God damn, hear the gunshots. God damn. No, come on now. Just finish it. Do it. Kill him. And I'm just waiting for more gunshots.
Yeah, a couple more gunshots.
To stop.
Yeah, you hear a few more people. You hear Elena on the radio now yelling for more people from one wall to come to the other.
I can't catch a break. It's my day off. Come on, man. It's Friday. I'm high. Got nothing to do. I'm sorry, baby. I gotta go. This might be something. I don't really know. I get dressed as fast as I can. I strap my holster to my body with my pistol. I give Rosa a kiss on the way. I like, listen. You know how to reach me if you need me. So.
Yeah. Good luck here, and she'll just kind of like open up one of the drawers. She's like, don't tell oh my god, I have to keep y'all's NPC or y'all's PC names up so I can remember. Don't tell Darius, and she'll like hand you just like a handful of like 5 more bullets.
Oh damn.
Just in case.
Where'd you get these from?
Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, okay.
Don't worry about it.
We'll keep this professional.
She's like, looks a little disappointed when you say keep it professional. She's like, oh, okay.
Oh, wink. I head out to where the action is.
Yeah, you are heading out and running down the stairs, as are many other people in this apartment building, as other people that are part of watch, or even just anyone who may not have the job to be on watch at any point in time, but know how to shoot a gun or like swing a weapon, are like rallying real quick as there have been gunshots. So there's quite a few other people kind of rushing down the stairs and out of this building with you. And you are able to kind of get up to the wall. We'll say, just for ease to kind of get us all together, you go up the same kind of ladder and stairs area where Marlon is. And you're able to look out just as Darius just drops one of these corrupted and they get run over. But you see 3 more bust out of the trees from like kind of like other directions. Maybe a part of this group, or maybe called by this noise, have like started to kind of rush this direction. And this Jeep has now fully made it over the kind of barricade that y'all had and out of the trees. And you see what looks to be like essentially a machine gun looking turret on top of it that very clearly was like ripped off of a military vehicle and repurposed and like screwed onto the top of this thing. And you see this guy standing on it that is like full like Lord of the Flies Mad Max vibe of like, he looks like 17 maybe. They're like scrawny, is like shirtless with like that blue and yellow like paint also all over him, is wearing an old military helmet that clearly took from someone else, has like a couple little shoulder pads and various like very ill-placed armor, but it's just like behind it has like a little bandana that you can see that is also that bright blue that like kind of probably helps the helmet actually fit a little more, like gives it a little bit of padding, but you can start to hear the whir of this weapon starting to go as well.
I already hate these guys. Like I can picture that so well, and I'm like, ew, no. Ugh.
Y'all
So
made
true.
them.
I know, but still, what have we done? What
would you like to do as you get up here, Marlon? Things are they're starting to get a little bit closer, especially some of these other corrupted that have peeled off from the side out of the forest and stuff. And people are starting to rally.
I climb up near Darius, and I'm making a lot of noise. Marlon is like 6'5", built like an NFL linebacker, thick arms, thick calves, thick legs, just huge shaved head. Roughly about 31 years old. His whole life, people have been asking him to play football, but he has never touched a football. He's wanting to pursue writing and more creative pursuits. I will walk up to Darius and say, what's the situation? What's going on? And then I'll take a look out at this guy in a turret, and I pull my binoculars. I get a good look at him. Is that Stormlord 42, the esports player? He was like ranked Fortnite. What the fuck? What is that, Fortnite? Come on, man. These people are crazy. You know Stormlord 42, right? There is, you know, the Fortnite.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but he's got a big gun, so I'd appreciate it if you maybe shoot him.
It's kind of a shame because he was a funny little dude. Like I kind of liked him on the gram.
You understand he is going to shoot you if you do not shoot him.
I mean, maybe he just thinks it's a game. Maybe he convinced it's a reality. Maybe it's not like he thinks he's playing a game.
His lack of mental stability is a concern for all of us.
All right, fuck it. I got shit I gotta do anyway. And I start shooting with I only have a pistol on me. And I'm more of a melee kind of character. So at least I can use pistols.
Yeah. So go ahead and do agility and pistol or handguns. What's it called?
Agility and
I thought you were gonna go full javelin.
Yeah, handguns.
Throw a javelin at him.
Javelin missile. Oh no. That's not good. Fire. Oh no, that's I have to add and subtract. Oh, Navaar.
What's your agility?
my agility is -1. My handguns +3, so that's a +2 total.
Yeah.
That's 8.
8. All right.
I think I take a few shots, but he's out of range of the pistol. So they're not really going anywhere.
Yep. Okay. So you've got a +2 total. So let's real quick. See, this is one of those moments in which I wish I had bookmarks. Why don't I own bookmarks? I use so many books, and then I'm just like, let me flip through pages. I wish there was something to keep my page. Oh, wait, those exist and have forever. I just don't have them. I know.
Show you one.
As a side note on bookmarks, there is a magnetic ones that I found recently. You just flip over the page, and they're super easy to use. Just let me know.
I'm gonna buy some. Okay, so first you had a +2 to the roll total. So let's roll a d8 to see how many bullets you wasted here. And then I'll get into
Well,
the
it's
skill, right?
based on the skill. So your
Oh,
handgun
that's
skill was a
right.
plus
Total.
3.
Yeah,
Right?
plus 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
D6.
so D6. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Cool. That's how many bullets I wasted. Oh my goodness. Good thing I got extra 5. Total is 8.
Okay.
Oh,
Just the D6. What was it on the
Oh,
D6?
the D6 is 5. 5.
All right, so 5 bullets wasted. Keep track of that. It was a failure. So you're also going to take 2 stress. So if you'll click that up at the top here, and I get another threat point. Thank you all, because it's about to be tied that they're close enough to do more than just move into range. Little pop. Quite a few pops go off, but I mean, I think it's less that like you're not aiming well. It's just they're very far for a pistol still. You know, it's a little harder to kind of aim in. Those bullets are dropping. You can hear it pinging on the vehicle and hit a couple of branches and stuff, but it's just hard to like really aim in here. As finally, Allison, you are in the theater and kind of one of the bunk rooms here. We'll say like one is reserved for actually still watching movies. Entertainment room, one of the screens has heat lamps and stuff to kind of keep some other plants growing. One is like bunk, and maybe another is like a little bit more storage and multi-purpose use. So you're in one of the big kind of bunk rooms. We'll say it's like the larger of them. What was she doing before chaos? Oh,
yeah, I was actually I think she was actually in the like grow light room.
Okay.
I think she was kind of there because usually, you know, people aren't in there as much. It's kind of like take care of the plants and go. So she kind of, plus it's warm. So I think she kind of was like in there and was like just kind of enjoying the quiet and like crocheting and in like a corner, like has a little like stool. And then probably didn't have a walkie herself, but heard kind of the muffle like and then like
gunshots, people yelling.
yeah. So can definitely tell that there's like commotion happening. So we'll kind of take her what she was working on and put it like under the under her seat and just kind of do like a okay and like work herself up to like leave the room because she would rather stay in this room but probably shouldn't do that. And I think
the downside of being like the one person with like a relative still here that will notice if you're not contributing.
right. Well, and that's probably a great motivator for her to be like, gotta get my ass up, gotta get out of here. But I think what she's gonna do first is like if we had like I'm guessing we have kind of I'm thinking like school like fire drills or tornado drills or something that. How there's like a designated spot like whenever there's like an attack. So she'd probably like find the kids or elderly and kind of put herself to work there on like getting them into like whatever safe spot and just making sure that that's taken care of and then we'll maybe like help if anybody else is like running in from the outside. So she's kind of like monitoring there. And then if there's no, if there you let me know if there happens to be like no more work there, then maybe she would then head to like whatever armory we have to grab. What did I put? I think I put hers also in handguns. So yeah.
Did you describe her look?
Oh no, I didn't.
Okay,
Allison, she has kind of like long to the mid of her back, like curly, dirty blonde hair. She's wearing like yoga pants and like a comfy top with like a knit, you know, like overthrow. She has wireframe glasses, not, I mean, definitely less makeup than even what I'm wearing right now. Like, no, maybe like mascara and then like a little bit of blush, but has like
The two products that last forever, so like they're
right,
still a year
exactly,
later. Yeah.
exactly. But probably has like little freckles across her face, but looks very like cozy if it wasn't this situation that we're in, you
Right.
know. And she's pretty like she's younger. Let me make sure. I think I said 20. Yeah, 24. She is kind of that where metabolism is still on her side, so just kind of like naturally fit, and probably does like yoga or something. But yeah, definitely not muscular at all. And that's her. But yeah, so probably after she's taking care of like what's in here, we'll go and like grab a handgun, like one that she's seen before, like that one.
Right.
I know that one. And we'll grab that and
I think there was like the joke that you always forgot to turn them in. So maybe it's like you're rushing out and you go to put your like yarn back in your bag and there's a gun. You're like, oh, right.
I found one. Whoa. So who knows how many bullets she actually has. But yeah, is definitely not, whereas other people might be like sprinting to get to like help at the wall. She's checking on like everybody else. Like, okay, you get to here, and is not sprinting there as fast.
Right.
As
I think you
others.
probably like run into like as you kind of go out and you're trying to kind of gather like for sure people that were having breakfast and stuff, especially like those kids and like some of the older people that aren't like necessarily going to be climbing up ladders and shooting guns are starting to gather, and you're able to start kind of, you know, the drill, go in here, go hang out, blah blah blah. And there's a woman named Sarah Johnson that lives in the town. She was like the school nurse, and she kind of does a lot of the same. Like she is, you have like an older doctor that has been like the general practitioner doctor that's been around forever and like is much older and like is very helpful. But like she is younger, more spry. She's had a lot more like trauma learning because, you know, the state of schools and having to be a nurse inside of them. So she's a lot more practical in that. And so she is like definitely kind of helping and like rushes up, like sees you, nods, like I feel like this is a thing. She's like, you are helpful. Yes, keep doing what you're doing. As you know, she's got like holding on to like 4 kids' hands and one arm is like, let's go, guys. Like, and kind of starts like shooing them in. And yeah, for sure, you are able to kind of spend a moment helping everybody at move. You're hearing a couple of these gunshots as now more people that were in other parts of the perimeter are starting to kind of join in, and it seems there's definitely people up on the wall, plus the couple that you see and know and run with as well. But you do hear just that like whir getting louder and louder, and then just a cacophony of bullets just and I think there's that like moment of panic of where you look at everybody on the wall. No one drops. Instead, you start to see pieces of plaster and rock and wall start falling from above as this gun seems to be aiming at all of the generators and electronics on the building. So speaking of, let's go back over to our individual on the roof. As you have watched this, you're seeing, we'll say too that there, just since there are lots of other people also involved, that there were a few more corrupted that have kind of run, that you're now starting to notice that these are various levels of corrupted. Some seem to have been fully encapsulated. Some look very new, where it's like they're still very human, except for that like just black ooze coming from like their eyes and their mouth. All of them seem to be in some sort of like school attire, whether it be like shirts, maybe some still even have backpacks on them.
Yeah,
it's starting to be like, oh shit, they were like herded here. Like they're not just in these woods. As that gun starts like right along all of the like generators, some of the actual power cables and things that are up a little higher. What would an interest?
Do I need to like duck and hide out of the way to avoid getting hit?
I would say, yeah, let's do that first. Just because you are like up in it, and while they're probably not aiming at you, there's going to be debris, there are going to be bullets, there's possibly shocks and sparks or something of the sorts as well.
Yeah.
Bookmarks. I need bookmarks, y'all. I need bookmarks. So I'm assuming this is probably the best would be agility, athletics, unless there is something I'm missing that would be a like, oh shit, get away.
I think that
something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense for me. So that's going to be a +4 for me. I have a +3 athletics.
Nice.
+1 agility. And that is a 9 + 4. I said 13. Partial success.
Okay. So
More stress for me.
yep, take another stress here, but you are able to kind of dodge out of the way, maybe some of these pieces of the building that fly off, kind of hit and knock you off a bit, but nothing that is doing any like substantial damage, just a little like, oh my god, this is bad, as you are able to kind of compose yourself, as it seems like the fire has started to spray in a little bit other directions as well, but who knows for how long.
Yeah. I think like once I can feel that it's past me for a second, I would like to get up, and I think like knowing I have to stop this. Like obviously there's all these corrupted coming in, we're gonna have to deal with that, but things are gonna get a lot worse if we don't have our power anymore. So yeah, I think what I want to do is try to aim for the guy on the top of the car that has the railgun. I want to try to aim for his hand specifically, so that way, one, he'll stop shooting, and hopefully he'll start screaming and attract the corrupted. And I would like to argue the ability to use either intellect or judgment for that.
Ooh, I like that. I will allow either, as you're being a little more tactical and less just like die.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to use my intellect then, and that will give me a +4, plus my long rifles is a +2. I swear to everything, that's another natural 20.
Yes.
Incredible.
Yes,
so
it's a crit.
I do clear stress, yes. And that's going to be a... Why don't I have bookmarks also?
Right. I had like sticky notes at some point in time too, and those have disappeared.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm crocheting you all one after this.
All one bookmark.
Yeah, everybody gets a crafted bookmark.
I just want one really big bookmark everybody has to share. I love that idea more. But
Is this big enough? Is this big enough? Everybody.
Almost. Everybody gets a little bit of bookmark.
I guess I could use the PDF because my PDF viewer does allow you to put bookmarks, but I like holding things.
Me too. I'm also so that's I rolled a 5 on the D6. Times 2 is 10. 10 points of damage on his arm hand.
His poor hand. Yeah.
That's his gaming hands. How dare you, sir?
Not no more.
Damn.
Yeah. Turns out it sucks to suck. He should have gotten good.
Yeah.
Sure. Poor Stormlord 42.
Poor Stormlord 42.
Not poor.
So you just see Demetrius kind of like roll back up out of that, and just like in the same thing that Darius was trying to do before, of just like to calm me down, taking a deep breath, focusing on that shot, and he's stationary like in the thing and just gonna shoot straight for his hand.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gotten a little bit closer. You're able to see a little better. You're aiming in, since it was a crit too, and that much damage, and what your aim was. The hand resembles more meat than hand at this point, as it has just like demolished any usable tendons, and he yanks his arm back, and just the gun is still kind of going down, but I mean, even with that, you can hear that like yell over it, as like immediately then just like takes it into his body, and looks like he's starting to kind of yell into someone within the vehicle. since as well we crit because hey, crits are fun. You do see that there is a couple of these other corrupted that in this moment, there are so many loud noises. There's so many things. They're kind of like a little bit of a herd mentality of following the push of everyone else, especially with this like car kind of like knocking them in the right direction. But hearing like human sound you see a couple of them that are a little further back, kind of next to the vehicle, turn their direction or like their attention, it looks like, towards the vehicle. Let's go down. Hold on. How close are we? We're getting close. Let me look at my moves real quick and see if I can have any of them do something a little more fucky here now that there's more than just repositioning happening. I guess because we reevaluate the points at the top of each combat, right? So like the 2 failures from the last one were just helping me reposition. Now it goes back to like my normal set of points.
Yeah.
Okay,
But because I think of how many you have out, you should already start with like 4.
Yeah, I have it starting at 4. Okay, perfect. So I think with that, we see that we've had reposition, we've had hide and flank. Let's do something bigger.
It's okay. You can keep them tiny. It's fine. We can just make tiny little crypt.
No.
Yeah, I think if using 2, there's some big heavy threat moves that I think you are possible with both the gun and the monsters.
Yep. I think what we're gonna have happen is like I was saying, there were quite a few. We have I'm kind of running this in a bit of like, you have multiple other people, so the hordes are a little bigger, but the actual number of threat points I have are what y'all are having to deal with, if that makes sense, because you have other NPCs also dealing with NPCs. I didn't want us to have like 70 baddies and like 60 PCs or NPCs. So you see that
you're doing that thing where there's a zoom in on our part of the battle.
Yes,
we are
exactly.
With us. We don't care about the rest of the riders of Rohan. They're all doing their thing.
They're doing their thing.
We're following the appropriateness of Legolas and Gimli.
Yes. So let's both add a little bit of a challenge, but also maybe a good thing for Marlon here is we're going to have some things start getting up close and personal, a little closer here. This wall, it's makeshift, but it's, probably says about like 10 feet tall or so. But a lot of these corruptive had started like rushing in to the point that they're like almost crawling over each other. And you start to see that they are like bits of the wall are kind of starting to chip off. It's not to the point that it's like destroying this cover by any means, but they are starting to swarm. And we'll say we'll for both Marlon and Darius are close by to this. Like maybe you'll look over and it's a section that they are just like climbing up on top of each other. Even some of those like little tendrils seem to like be helping in this like move as they are just yowling and bloodthirsty. Well, let me roll to see who's going to be the first to be impacted by this. It was odd, which means it's Marlon. So sorry. So yeah, they are kind of starting to go up, and I think you see that there are about like 3 or 4 the fourth one starting to come up at 3 that are like right up close to you, kind of starting to swarm your position as you were like the first one that they really like connect eyes with. What would you like to do in this moment, both of y'all?
I pull out my handy fire axe and I just kind of tap it against my hand, and I just start going in on the closest one.
Absolutely.
Split skulls. And so that is Braun, I think, and let's see, melee weapon. Right?
Melee, yep.
Got so much bonuses.
Good. And you don't have to worry about wasting bullets.
Yeah,
there are none.
And I'm just gonna say too. So, each player turn is like 6 to 10 seconds. So if if Mark wants to make multiple attacks, and I think it makes sense in the narrative.
Fine narrative. Yeah, you can kind of like swing a couple of times. Oh, I love that. More games should do that. Because that makes sense. You'd be able to shoot a handgun twice in like a turn or hit something twice in a turn.
My first swing was a 1.
Ooh, boy. You're going to take some stress for that, buddy.
So that's 3 stress and you're compromised, by the way.
Ooh. 1, 2.
Oh no!
What happened?
So remember how I just said if the narrative makes sense? Well, the way that I look at it, Taylor, is like a lot of times when a player gets compromised, that's like the end of your turn, because basically that's the thing that's like your critical failure means you're now in danger. So for those who are familiar with the game, like being compromised is like now you're in a life or death situation. You either have to, on your next turn, save yourself, or if there's somebody around you, they have to save you. But everything that rolls to try to save the person from being compromised is going to roll against a different table than your standard success table. So Taylor gets to decide in what way you're compromised right now. But
yeah. I mean, you are being swarmed. So I think maybe it's one of those things that you said you have an axe.
Yeah, fire axe.
You swing into one of these corrupted and like embed in, and you're like trying to like get him like oh shit as the other 3 and then the 4th one are starting to come up, just like start to like grab hold, rip at your clothes, like are absolutely encompassing you. And Darius, you're watching this happen next to you as you are just like pinned in with these individuals, your weapon unable to get loose currently. Marlon.
Covered in this swarm. I'm just like, shit. I'm trying to just punch my way out, but they are just overwhelming me. Even though, despite my size, they're just...
Yeah, I think the one you embedded in is probably like equal in size, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah. And then again, I think I took a bunch of stress, so I'm just really panicking. I'm just...
What's your stress at now?
4, I think.
You just took 3.
Because you're probably at a conflict level, yeah.
I am at 6.
6, okay.
There you go.
So so also you hit falter as well.
Yeah. So you falter, hesitate, causing you to waste precious time. Hey, that happened. I think narratively we accidentally made it happen. Do only one action on this turn, which you were compromised, so you've done your one action, or hesitate in response to a narrative situation. So you are oh shit for sure. Darius, you're closest by. Would you like to react?
I would. And I'm going to say this is why I never went to college. And I'm going to shoot the 2 that are like basically like boxing him in and tell him to calm down, back up, and leave the axe. Like, I am here. I have no stress. I am able to assess the situation. I am currently not kerfuffled. So
you're doing that thing that annoying people do when shit's fucked up and they're just like, stay calm. And it's like, no,
I don't say stay calm. He's like, he shoots them and goes, leave the goddamn axe. He yells at you. He doesn't tell you to stay calm. He yells at you like an upset dad more than he does anything else.
Oh, that only makes it worse.
I know.
I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. All right. So I love that. So
2 attack rolls, I assume.
Yeah. Say, are you basically?
I'm switching.
I guess is the goal. Yeah, is the goal just to kill a couple of the ones that are grappling him, or talk him into?
The goal is to make a hole and tell him to move backwards.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
So I'm just.
Oh yeah, go on.
So I was just gonna say this is one of those things where, because agility is often the thing we use for guns, Darius is shooting in the direction very close in range to Marlon. So if you decide to make him roll with something else, that would make sense here, like judgment.
Sure. Yeah. Because let's see. Let me keep my finger on our. Oh no, the result while compromised only matters for Marlon. So
because
Darius,
this is trying to get
is also.
Yeah, okay. Darius's role is also going to affect whether or not Marlon gets out of being compromised.
Okay, perfect.
Or gets in a further worse position.
I'm going to make the weird argument that I would like to use empathy plus firearms because I'm trying to talk him and fire my way to make a hole for him.
Yeah. I've been playing so many Forged games. I'm like, okay, I love when people just argue stats for me. I'm like, yes, make my life easier. I like that a lot because it is you are trying to figure out which one is the most advantageous to give him an opening to convince Marlin. See, that one's dealt with. You can scoot back, like you're kind of talking while also killing.
My argument isn't I need trying to kill this thing. It is to make a hole for him. That is my stated objective.
I would allow it. I'd allow it.
Okay.
Within obviously your handguns.
So 13 plus 6 is 19, which is a success,
nice.
correct? Or is that?
Yep, that is just a flat success. So I guess between the two of y'all, will you kind of narrate this scene as you are able, Marlon, you're getting a little bit of hole, you're able to scoop back because of Darius's help and how this kind of like looks and transpires between the two of you.
This is me trusting Darius because he's basically shooting in my direction, but I do manage to like hear what he's saying, and my body just moves in the direction that he's telling me to move, without really my kind of conscious acknowledgement.
Yeah, rolling out of the way. Let's see. So we'll say we're kind of trickling down some of these individuals here, but for my other move, I think that gun is going to whir to life again as you see that Stormlord 42 has kind of just been like pushed down. We'll say this is like one of those because they were probably well-to-do frat boys. It's like one of the Jeep trucks. Got the 4 seats plus then the tail bed. You watch as like Stormlord 42 just gets like shoved into the tail bed, and like one of these corrupted jumps into the back of it with him while someone else kind of pulls themselves out of the back window and hops on this gun like immediately and starts to absolutely decimate the electronics again. Let's see, where are my things here? Just for ease here while I'm looking at things, Demetrius, you're still up there, so would you like to avoid and duck from this again here?
Yeah, I think after having taken that shot, he's all right, I gotta move now again, so definitely trying to avoid getting hit. And I will just want me to do the same thing, agility athletics again.
Yep.
Okay. That is 7 on the die. I think I have a +3 agility 1 athletics. So yeah, an 11. So another partial success.
All right.
Which means that I don't falter because I had crit last time. So I'm back at 3 stress.
Perfect. All right. Let me make sure I have my. Oh yeah. Yep. With this other move that they're doing here with this gun kind of whirring again, you see another guy kind of pops out of this, very similar in like dress and style. Looks to be a little older, like definitely is wearing like a bulletproof vest, like fit a little more, but again, like a lot of like repurposed military stuff, like where these guys get all of this, is on this gun. And you watch as that's kind of, it's less of a wild spray and a little more focused as it kind of goes into both this, like, I don't know technical terms when it comes to electronics and electricity for a city, but I'm assuming like the transformers, is that what the thing is on like the top of power lines? Kind of like just blows through that and into one of many generators, but one of the generators up on the top of this, and you watch as just like a burst of sparks and like a momentary bit of flame as down in the theater you notice Allison, the lights immediately off, and there's just this like quiet as everything goes dead down there. Demetrius, what would you like to do in response as you've kind of avoided this for a moment?
Yeah, I think
the tides are definitely turning. Like a lot of these corrupteds are dropping from a lot of the people, but this truck is still running.
Yeah. I think, this time there's already the other corrupted in the truck fighting the other guy. Stormlord 42 or whatever. And so I think, he's just going to move a little bit to change his position and just pop up and take a shot at the guy that's shooting now. And I think this time, since the corrupted are already kind of drawn in that direction, he's going to just try to hit him. If he doesn't kill him, he's fine with that, because then he knows the corrupted will at least finish him off. So he's going to just take a shot. I'll just do agility handguns unless you object.
Nope, go for it.
Okay, so that is going to be my +1, or agility long guns, excuse me, long rifles. So +3 modifier to this. Oh, you hate me so much. That is a 9 + 3, which is a 12. So partial success. So half damage on this D6.
Right.
Which is a 3. So
right.
2 or 1 damage. And then let me roll my wasted bullets. Which is a D8. Okay. My D8 of wasted bullets. So so it's just two shots he's trying to hit and clips him, but
Yeah, I will say, like one just kind of clips him a little bit, gives a little kind of nick there, goes, we'll say in the shoulder. The other one hits him like dead on, but he does have that bulletproof vest. But hey, now it's damaged, and those don't work very well after they've been damaged a couple of times. But definitely takes this like thud, but the gun has like kind of stopped, and he's looking around at the situation, looks back at the corrupted, just mauling poor Stormlord 42, starts to reach for a pistol, doesn't have the time to really do it, but looks like he's like, oh shit, okay, let me help this guy. And you can now clearly see, especially now that they're out of the force a little bit more, that there's only like one guy in the driver's seat. Now this guy and then Stormlord that is getting wrecked. And they're starting to look around and start to kind of realize like, okay, maybe one objective has been met, as they see sparks, lights turned off, whatever. The corrupted are starting to drop left or right or turn on them. And it looks like they're starting to kind of throw that back into reverse. We'll say that up on the wall, Darius and Marlon, some other people have kind of jumped in to take out some of this like World War Z wall of zombies like coming up, and pulled off a couple of the other guys. We'll say that just because I feel like he needs to be a badass, like Frank Evans, who is the guy that kind of runs make sure everyone knows what's going on with security, is the one that just like absolutely blows off with the shotgun the guy's head that has your axe, and just like steps on him, pulls the axe out of the body, and like hands it back over to you, Marlon. Is there anything y'all would like to do, as it seems that, all you really have now is to pick off the few corrupted left, but this vehicle is trying to leave, is backing up and trying to get the fuck out?
I'm going to attempt to shoot that driver.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Demetrius will do the same as well.
Absolutely. We're about to hit kind of our midpoint break. If everyone just wants to roll and lay into this guy, because they're not really fighting back in this moment, they are retreating. Allison, you want to take a pop shot?
Actually, I think I was going to, in kind of like more like, where can I be of more help? And like all this happening up here, and knowing I just got the small gun. That's the one I grabbed. I think I might go and try to find Emily, because now it seems like power is one of our biggest, like getting power back on is one of our biggest concerns. So I think she'll probably has like dodged those two, just like sprays or whatever up top. And then
I think one of the corrupted like goes to jump down while everyone else is fighting, and you just do that like, like quick little shot. Someone else probably shot him at the same time, but you feel like a badass for a minute.
I felt like it was me. I'll just absorb that. That boost. But I'll go find turn back around and like go find and be helped that way.
Love it. Yep, absolutely. So you're running off to find Emily. For those watching, who is our kind of electrician by trade, she's is the one keeping everything up and running most of the time with a team that she teaches, but she kind of heads that. For those popping off shots at our vehicle, what we got going here?
I rolled a 13, so that's a 20.
Nice.
Crit, yeah.
Yeah, it was like it's a crit because like added numbers bring it to a crit, right?
Yeah, it's additive crit. I have a 7 to shoot guns.
Love additive crits.
I just made 7 to shoot guns. I'm gonna shoot a gun. It's gonna be a 7. That
Absolutely.
felt right.
If you had stress, you can reduce that by 1. Definitely some roll for your bullets.
Been stressed. I've got
you're just being a
partial
badass.
Successes.
Cool. I mean,
I just did math, and I'm like, well, if I can manage to get like 6s and 7s and roll higher than 12 or higher than what's the number of 15s of full success,
16,
right?
16.
16.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 6s and 7s. If you roll 10 or higher, you average successes.
Yeah, success.
12 damage.
Ouch. Yeah, absolutely. This is a Jeep, not the Humvee. So it does not bulletproof windows as it just like blasts through this and like hits this guy who, I mean, is just like, you can immediately see he's just bleeding down the side of the head, still up, but is not great as they're kind of like,
I would like to keep blasting, as Danny DeVito has said in his life.
Blast.
And then I started blasting.
Yes. Did y'all both have D names, and now I'm switching them up. Demetrius. Demetrius. Did you roll for your shot as well?
Yeah. So what you see is that Demetrius goes to line up another shot on the driver, as he can see this truck starting to pull away, but he's standing in front of this generator behind him as he's like overlooking on the edge. Mm-hmm. And the generator had just been shot up, and so all of this electricity from that sort of like explodes in this electrical energy, and he smashes forward into like the low wall of the roof. You can hear the gunshot go off, but he has been like, I failed basically. And so he's trying to like recover now as the shot has like basically knocked the air out of him against the wall.
Awesome. All right, let's do our hopefully last shot here, Darius, as they are not looking great.
I've rolled a 9, which again gets me to 16 for a success. So,
nice. That other one, when you told me the damage, was that it already doubled?
Yes, 12 was already doubled.
Okay, I couldn't remember if it was doubled. All right, perfect. 12. Yep. Mm-hmm. All right, and then what? Also,
that was Demetrius faltering as well because I hit. Mm-hmm. I'm at 5 stress now.
Okay.
Sweet. D10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So 7 more.
Yeah. I think at that, like, maybe not dead, but is definitely has taken 2 large hits, and especially like they're gonna be chest up because he's driving a vehicle, so they are going to be very serious hits that, you know, the wherewithal of this individual is not really happening. Because I think you see the Jeep kind of like just backs into a tree. It kind of stops for a minute and he's a little dazed. The other corrupted have like fully taken over Storm Lord, who I think you all see like stand up. Also now just that black ick and like jump on his buddy who's just popping off shots, but they have all kind of turned a bit to this closer thing, especially without that threat of like being prodded and pushed in that direction. And I think that is where we'll take a little break as the lights are off. There are still sparks kind of flying. Darius, you are trained in, if you know you're wanting to finish them off, you're kind of taking your breath. Marlon, you are able to do the same, kind of take a moment and think, like, get your weapon back and recompose yourself. Allison's running off to try and get this electricity fixed, and Demetrius is also just like heavy breathing on the roof, not having to worry about bullets getting thrown into him at this moment. But let's take a little break, get stretch, and we'll see what y'all are going to do with this problem afterwards.
Very big problem.
Hello, everybody. I don't really know how to start these because they're in the middle of when you've already been seeing us for a long time, but this is a different point in time. So I'm gonna say hello again.
We're new people now.
We're we're new.
We're in a different shirt.
We're in a different shirt, different day. It's fully different thing. But hi, I am welcome or joined this way with Navaar, the creator of the wonderful game that you are currently watching, The Corrupted. Let's just hop into it. Navaar, could you give us a little boilerplate? What is this about?
Yeah, so The Corrupted is a survival horror game, and it's about basically trying to survive the apocalypse at any given point in time. But I kind of give like 3. You can either do it like when it all starts, a year in, or 5 years in, and there's things changed based on which you decide. But yeah, it's based on using a D20 die, and essentially you go about like trying to survive, taking a different journey depending on whatever you're trying to do to accomplish. And it has 30 different skills that you can pick from, and then apply different points to those as well as your abilities, and you can mix and match abilities and skills. So the example I always like to give is like, let's say that there was a beam that had like fallen over and you needed to get it out of the way. Rather than using strength for that, you could use or brawn in our case, you could use intellect and engineering and use that to lift it, or brawn and engineering, because it's like, well, I'm strong and I just want to make sure I can do this in a way that's not going to make the rest of the ceiling fall. So looking at ways to like make things make sense in game, because that was a big component of some of the game design that went into it. Was some of it was just seeing a lot of things that people said online of like, I don't like this about games that are based on a D20. Other things are like me in game being like, this doesn't make any sense at all to me. But I love D20s as a die. They're a lot of fun to roll. They're like the one die that like gets like special treatment, and people just make those individually. You can buy them individually, and so I wanted to still find a way to use that, but do it in a way that made me feel happy with the outcome in the game design.
Yeah. What when you're kind of talking about the mechanics and such, I guess we'll start with that, and then we'll get into the influence and the vibes and everything, and to roll into the rest of it. I guess what was kind of the catalyst, or if there even was, or the thought process of like, this is how I want to build a game? Was it just, I'm tired of nitpicking some of these other things in other systems? Like,
yeah, a little bit. I think like once I made a 1-page RPG using the Caltrop core from that Titanomachy made a couple years ago. And after I made that 1-page RPG, I was like, I'm gonna make a big game. And so but I do think I think it's important for people to, if you enjoy a system, to find a way to make that system work for a game. Like if that's something you enjoy, I think that's perfectly valid and fun. I am a person who enjoys a challenge, and I wanted to see if I could find a way to make a game that works for what I want. And so I just kind of looked at like, well, what do I want to accomplish? I think my original game concept was different, and I don't remember exactly what it was. Actually, I think it was going to be like an alien invasion type game, because I had been watching Fallen Skies at the time, and I might still make that game one day. But I'm a massive Last of Us fan, and so we'll get into that specifically. But then it was like, okay, well, how can I do this? Because I think one of my friends said one time, like, the thing about apocalypse games is that most of them suck. And I was like, but what if I made one that didn't suck? And so not that I think all of those games suck. I just like, it's the same thing. It's just like, I enjoy that challenge of like, how can I do this myself? And so then I just said, okay, well, this is what it's going to be. So I knew that I needed to have varying degrees of success, because I wanted to be closer to, a little bit closer to realism in like in a narrative sense. Like I knew that I wanted players to feel good and heroic, but not have like a ton of hit points, and not be like able to do like magic and things. Right. It's just like you're a survivor, but it's more of like you're like a main cast Walking Dead survivor, or a Last of Us video game survivor, or like a State of Decay, like where it's like you're better than every other character in the game and you can survive a lot more stuff, but there's still a risk of death.
Yeah, you're still a person.
Yeah,
at the
exactly.
end of the day.
So
like,
so I was like, okay, well, how does that work? So working out, and well, the players will have this much HP, which is like base 10 up to 20, and they can do way more damage of like we'll just say like maximum, if at the worst, is 4 up to 24 points of damage. And NPCs don't have that much. They sometimes have 5, sometimes have 10, sometimes have 20. So you can go through a lot of them quickly if you're trained in combat. But when you're not, it's also really good. So so there's like, okay, now I got this combat down. How do I like make it work out in a narrative sense? Because I think you can throw mechanics at a game and say, cool, go survive. But for me, the best part of a lot of those stories is not the fighting the zombies, it's the dealing with the life, dealing with the stress, dealing with the conflicts with the other people. And the things that like push the narrative are those outside stressors, and your inner the way that you deal with it on your own. And so that's kind of what led me to the stress and conflict mechanics, and having it be paired with like you're with one other person or 3 other people. And so there's always somebody there that you're have some kind of conflict with, and let that be the driving force of like narrative play outside of combat.
Yeah. And I think that is my favorite part of it, because again, also very big fan of like Last of Us and sort of things that are just so like introspective in the people and those sort of things of giving like it's always a weird balance of trying to add mechanics to like real life feelings and internal things and more like just other stuff than like I'm gonna shoot things. And I think this is a very interesting job of where even if you kind of succeed, you're still it's a lot. You're taking a life, you're dealing with pain, you're doing whatever. And that is very fun. Let's talk about the vibes a little bit, because good God, do you encompass them so well here.
Thank you.
So it started off alien invasion, like you're saying, possibly, which you should also do. That'd be very fun. When did it change to this kind of more post-apocalyptic thought here?
So I think it really happened. I want to say episode 47. I interviewed who is now one of my best friends, Indrani from Daisies and Dragons, and they're a game designer and they do video game stuff as well. But anyway, so we interviewed, and like halfway through the interview, we started talking about games that we enjoyed, video games that we enjoyed. And I was like, oh, like these are the games that I play, which is like The Witcher and The Last of Us. And, and then she was like, oh, yeah, actually this. And so we like spent like 30 more minutes just talking about The Last of Us. And we're like, you know what? I don't care who else is listening to this interview. This is the only thing we're going to talk about. And there's going to be some spoilers, and I'm sorry. And then we joked, because it's like literally like the first time we talked in like voice. We're like, we should just do a podcast one day. And then we just stayed in contact. And then that joke was like, well, but what if we did though? And then we started talking about like making a game. And because I love the apocalypse genre in general so much, I was like, this would be really good. I think I went back and started playing, because I just beat The Last of Us 2. I went back and played the DLC Left Behind for The Last of Us 1, and I was like, okay, yeah, I want this, because I love those games. And I think they're great and perfect, and with like very few, like obviously there are very specific things that should be critiqued and have been. And I think that there are other things that are like, I don't get bent out of shape about certain decisions that were made. All that to say, you don't get to choose who you play or anything like that. And I think like, I love the story that's there, but I also personally would love a story where it's like you're in the world of The Last of Us, you create a custom character, and you have a story that has like branching directions, right? And would that story be as impactful as The Last of Us? No, probably not, because it's not focused, but I think it would still be a lot of fun. And that idea of like, well, how do I encompass everything that happened here in terms of emotion, tone, um, just like outcomes, like things like the heavy stuff that happens that like as a gamer, you're sitting there crying at your PlayStation 5. Like, how do I encompass that and put it into a TTRPG? And that was like the real, like, okay, it's got to be an apocalypse game. It's got to be zombies. They have to be scary. But the thing that really has to be screwed over is just like how the world is going to just change you as a person. Which is why like the corrupted being a double meaning of like the monsters, but also the people, and fighting against that corruption, like especially when you get like higher conflict levels, when it's like you start lashing out now because you're so stressed out with this person. And how does that work in those situations when you're lashing out? Yeah,
absolutely. Real quick before we kind of wrap up, talking about that, going in and telling your own stories, you are starting an AP of your own game. What can you tell us about kind of that without spoiling too much, since we're only like 2 episodes in, I think, at a talk back so far?
Yes. 2 episodes out as of right now. It is an amazing show. It's got 2 of my dear friends, Hamna Shahid and Josephine Kim, and they are incredible role players. We are playing a game basically that's set in Vermont. And I'll talk about why on the next talkback. And but yeah, it's about these 2 survivors that like are forced together through this like kind of bizarre circumstance, and then because of a long winter, have to spend a significant amount of time together because of a blizzard. And so I really wanted it to be more people focused without getting into spoilers. So think more The Last of Us HBO show versus The Last of Us game. There are still monsters, but a lot of the problems are going to be from outside people sources. And it's very narrative driven. I spent about 20 to 25 hours on every episode doing sound design and adding music. So it's very immersive. Thank you.
It's so
good. Please listen to it because I'm not getting paid to do it, and it's just a lot of love, labor of love. So I try to make it very immersive. There are things that made me start to cry in the edit and in the recording, and I think if you enjoy like those kind of experience of a survival story that also has like very intense situations, queer romance, just like platonic love and terrifying situations to be in with NPCs, then check it out.
Love it. Well, as we wrap up, I know we'll talk about it at the end of the show again, but where can people find this? Where can people find you? All of that good stuff.
Yes. So you can find me on social media at NAVAARSNP on Twitter and Blue Sky. I don't use anything else, and I barely use Blue Sky, but I am there, and I do get notifications when my phone decides to tell me. You can also find the podcast and the actual play at Secret Nerd Podcasts, anywhere you pod. Secret NRD Social on Twitter, because I can't have 2 Blue Skies as well as 2 Twitters. And if you would like to get the game, if you're just a digital person, that's great. Head on over to navarsnp.itch.io, and you can find it there. If you would like a physical copy, it is still being published, and you can get them pretty quickly-ish. I'm not going to make promises for the publisher, but you can order it, and that'll be through +1 EXP, so +1exp.com, and just search for The Corrupted. That's the easiest way to find it. And I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for making this game, hanging out, playing. I'm so excited you got to play it. And you were like available and ready to do it. So
so this is the thing, like as a designer, I love running this game, and I think it's one of those things where it's like it would be great if they had like great success financially and people are like playing it and talking about it, but also like it feels really good to design something that I constantly want to play. And people that I play with really want to play as well. So that's It's
that, like,
amazing to be a
breeds
player.
it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. You know, if you're excited about it, other people are excited about it.
Yeah.
And it's always fun to see it in other people's hands, because then it's like,
Mhm. Yeah.
what did they think? What did they do? How did they run this? Which is both terrifying and very fun. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. And
Yeah, thank you.
we're probably back to the show. Enjoy the second half.
Yes.
Hello. Welcome. For the first time, all of our combo didn't pop up in captions, and I love that, because usually it does, and then we get tattled on by captions. We come back. The smoke has settled a bit. I just want to know, narratively, Darius, you seem to be the one still with the most wherewithal and a long range gun. Are you making sure that the people in that Jeep are no longer existing and the Jeep is not leaving?
I'm making sure the Jeep is not leaving. If one of them
Okay.
runs out of the Jeep, I'm not going to shoot somebody running away from a Jeep. That's not.
But I think you tried to drive it, like.
But if the Jeep keeps moving, there's going to keep being bullets in the general vicinity of a driving shape.
Yeah. Then I mean, thankfully or unthankfully, you've got corrupted in the area that are especially once this vehicle kind of stops. There's that daze, this kind of panic from the driver. There are some pop shots happening from the other guy. Stormlord 42 just annihilates them. One last act before then he also gets taken down by a bullet from someone within the town. Mm-hmm. But the vehicle is still kind of churning. It has stopped. Anyone that is alive is no longer a human, and slowly the corrupted are kind of being taken out by everyone on watch, as there is like not calm by any means. It's still like, oh shit, stuff is bad, but it is not a constant like rain of fire or arrows or anything like that. Let's go. I guess probably we'll start with Allison. As you have run off to try and find Emily, and I think they are also probably another one that's pretty capable with a weapon, and we're up on a like wall somewhere, maybe out of view, but heard like that boom of the transformer going down, and have started to kind of go down the ladder, and you see them. They're like pretty just like average in height, have this like very, very long, dark, like very slick black hair that they've got kind of pulled back in a mess, wearing probably still just like their just general uniform. I feel like would be some sort of like work overalls, you know, not much clothes left over, but also you need to kind of get down and dirty in them. And we'll see you kind of running their direction and give you that like, what's happening?
I don't really know like electrical anything, but that the big thing flew up, and I figured that's your job. I'm here to help if you need anything. I don't. I can hold tools or whatever. I got up to the wall kind of late, so I was just thinking where I could better.
Good. No, good plan. Shit. Okay. Yeah. Follow me. And she'll start to just like take off running. I think you see she stops at one of the building or the stands and kind of grabs a toolbox, like just mid run, knows exactly where it is, and is able to keep running off. And they probably start to go up that ladder to get up onto the roof as well, where Demetrius, what have you been up to, or are you doing currently as Allison and now Erica? What did I say?
Emily.
Emily. I was like, I knew there was another E. Come kind of like busting up onto the roof as well.
Yeah, I think that Demetrius, took the time, like after he was able to catch his breath and get back up on his feet, he helped to finish off whatever corrupted are running around, and then getting away from that generator specifically is just going to like make sure there's no stragglers, make sure there's nothing else, and kind of keep an overwatch of the scene. And then I think as he hears the two of them coming up the ladder, hey, just be careful. There's a lot of shit up here. got fucked up pretty bad.
Oh God. And like, I mean, there it just like all color drains from Emily's face as she's kind of looking at just these like pieces of metal kind of thrown in various directions. A lot of the side of that wall also just ripped apart to where there's not as much cover as there would have been up here previously. That just like smell of that like electrical kind of burn is still hanging in the air. I think that maybe the actual pole that the one transformer on is even starting to kind of like break as the wood of it starts or has been kind of messed up as well. And she's like, fuck, like just starts screaming and like throws her toolbox down and is just like rubbing her head. She's like, shit. Oh, this is bad. This is so bad. This is so bad. Like looks up at like this guy. She's like, fuck, this is so bad.
Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad?
10.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to get the lamps back on. We need to get the freezers back on. We're not gonna have food. This is not enough power to keep both of those things going. Like we can go without lights, but then it's gonna be cold. We're not gonna have heaters. We're not gonna. Oh shit. And she's like starts kind of like looking at other ones, like ripping out some like pieces, trying to see if she can patch some stuff back together, and is just like like just strings of expletives all like slurred together between just like mumbles. I think you can like hear like various things like clearly said in her native language, not even anything that y'all understand. Like there is panic and it is jumping everywhere in this moment.
Do we need to make like a list of things that we need like for it? And she'll pull out like this notebook and is just kind of like, I don't know, like
yeah. Okay, yeah. That's a start. That's a start. Thank you. That's a good idea. That's a start because fuck, like throws a wrench across the floor again. Kind of looks over, like has this like kind of moment of like clarity and like looks over at Demetrius like, holy shit, are you okay? So sorry. I was focused on this. You were up here?
Yeah. They were taking shots at me, but I avoided it. One of the generators kind of exploded behind me. And I think that did more damage than anything they did. And you can see like he's kind of like checking himself again just to make sure adrenaline didn't like obscure the
right, like
hit
shards.
of any bullets. Yeah. But yeah, I'll be all right. I mean, I know enough to, not hurt myself. Do you want me to try to get some of the power off? Do you cut off some of the electricity going to these things so we can actually fix them?
Yeah. If you could, go hit all the breakers, make sure nothing is going so I can dig in there without messing anything up or me. Can I have that piece of paper? Kind of grabs your notebook and starts like listening. It's like, I'll bring this back to you in a second. Go check on everyone else. And then just immediately just again goes off in something in a language y'all don't understand. Like just I'm angry.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Demetrius will go and just kind of look for the breaker. And as like just kind of passing by on the way out, we'll just stop and and then just say to Allison, hey, are you all right? Everything happened? Did anything happen inside the building?
Not as far as I know. I think everybody got to their, positions, their spots. All the kids are in the right spot, and everybody was doing their own thing. A lot of commotion at the front, at the wall, but I kind of was there and then kind of ran back. I don't really shoot a gun that often, so
Yeah. I mean, we should probably honestly do some training. I know I've mentioned it before, but it's I'm glad you're all right though. That's the main thing.
Are you sure you're okay? Because I mean, like I have, and she'll pull out like an old T-shirt that she's ripped up to like long like strips of that could be used as like bandage. She's like, if you need some, like I totally have some to spare if you need any.
No, I'll be all right.
Okay. Well,
Thank you though.
got him.
Yeah.
Got him if you need it.
Yeah. Just head on back down and check on everybody. I'm gonna get these breakers off and see if I can start ripping out whatever's got a bullet in it. So
Sure, sounds good. Yes. And she'll kind of like mentally be like where to go, and then like head off towards the movie theater again.
yeah. And Taylor, if I could,
Mm-hmm.
so I reached conflict level 1 during that.
Yes.
Which conflict level 1 is how do your current stressors reflect or remind you of your conflict. And so I think in this moment, I'm just going to like kind of what's going through Demetrius's head is like listening to Allison talk about how she doesn't really have to like shoot the gun. It's just like, this is one of those things where he's like, everybody should be trained now. Like, this isn't like life before when you could just like, get away with it and be like, a cozy Pinterest designer and like not have to worry, but like this is life or death. And so like he has like this frustration that he's not like taking out on Allison, but he's just thinking about of as he's going to like turn the breaker off of like, why is everybody not prepared?
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of our conflict and conditions here, let's look back to our other two with Darius and Marlon. Y'all are able to kind of like get down off the wall, take a moment. You can see that a lot of people are just kind of starting to gather in front of the movie theater, realizing lights are off. Things are kind of, oh shit, we got to talk this through. What's going on? Marlon, I know you also, I believe, hit your first conflict level, just level 1.
Yes.
There was a lot of stress being had, so I don't remember.
Mhm.
So also look at that question of how do your current stressors reflect or remind you of your conflict? If you either want to give us a little insight into what you're thinking or react with that also in this scenario as well.
I am feeling violated. Like these, you look at me. I'm big, sexy black guy, and these things have like attacked me. My axe is my weapon. Like I'm good with that thing, and then these things just come at me. They crawl over. Then I didn't get bitten. Thank whatever God is left alive in this apocalypse, but I'm just violated, and the person closest to me is Darius, and I'm really just like, you're the same kind of person. Like you also like, you don't respect me as a person. You don't respect me as a human being. Maybe like I'm just stressed out. I'm just like overwhelmed. Everything, all my stress is just coming at me at once.
Absolutely. I think you're kind of having this moment. You're thinking coming down off of the wall. Darius, you are in tow, probably kind of picking up a little of that like on edge from Marlon, which, if you can infer that it's directed at a person or because they maybe nearly died, up to you. But
I would say I would not believe it's directed at me right now. Like, these things happen. I'm not stressed out apparently, and I helped pull him out of there. So I'm like, he had a near death. That was not cool.
Right. Well, let him have his moment.
Let him have his moment.
You just calm about this?
He is as calm as he can be. I took no stress the whole time. So like I am fairly calm, cool, and collected. He's like doing the like breathing exercise type thing where clearly his adrenaline was up and he's trying to remain chill. But he's mostly looking around and trying to think things. And he's like, he looks at his radio and he's like, actually, he'll check up on you and be like, "Are you okay?"
No, I'm not okay. The fuck?
All right.
This thing's
no, like,
you shot at me.
I did not shoot at you. Are you physically okay? I'm asking if you're physically okay. I'm asking if you're in one piece. That's all I'm asking. Let's take cess of that. Let's stop. Let's make sure that's okay. I don't want you to bleed out. I don't want you to be hurt.
I just try to look over myself real quick. Yeah, I'm okay. But fucking, what the fuck was that, man? They had a car. I thought the crap they were driving. Real quick, they had a car. They were organized. What the fuck was that?
That was the school herding people towards us, is what it was. Because they were all up in weird colors, painted up, moving them towards us.
They ran out of paintballs or something. They're like, what? Why?
Whatever they ran into, it was military grade.
Shit.
He'll like reach inside of his coat and offer you a flask. You gonna be all right?
Nah, man. I just need some fresh air, man. I just need to relax a little bit.
Okay. All right. You need anything, you let me know. I think it's gonna be okay. We're gonna have to get out there and see what's up with that Jeep. We're gonna have to get a hold of Emily and see what's up with the power, because there were lots of loud pops of the electrical nature.
You hear an echoed fuck from the roof.
Okay, it's apparently very, very bad. That's never a good thing.
The last thing we need right now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we've scavenged out fairly far, but if the Jeep has gas, we could scavenge out farther for parts, luckily. So we probably want to get people out there on that sooner rather than later.
And Stormwolf Woody too, he was a good one, man. Come on, 300,000 plus followers. He was like, I don't really mess with Fortnite, but
how is that? I don't want to be mean, but why is that relevant right now? Like, we don't have internet no more.
That was him.
Oh,
at least it looked like him.
Internet famous don't help me right now. Don't help none of us. If internet famous helped us, Allison would be getting us rolling in dough. That's a whole.
Yeah, Allison, right. With her crocheting and her knitting, like, wow.
I mean, let's be clear.
Doilies.
Well, now she makes clothes, which is actually a super useful skill, so I'm not mad at her about that. But like,
had you seen her before in the before times? Like,
she's my cousin. I helped pay her college. I done seen her before in the before times. Like, that's
fam. I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah. So my uncle married. It's a tree. It's somewhere. I think there might still be one in the pawn shop somewhere, like the whole tree. But that's not important at this exact moment.
I'm picturing this entire conversation happening, and Darius is wearing a crocheted shirt.
Yeah. Oh no, he is totally wearing a crocheted shirt that Allison has crocheted for him. Like, legitimately, he does. Like, he is more happy about her crochet skills now than he was prior to the apocalypse. Now that's a useful skill. Now she can make clothes. Now it's good.
Success.
He's so happy he's done that. He doesn't understand why the internet needed to happen this way. He's on that edge of boomerism where it's like, why did you try to be internet famous? That's useless. That's not helping nobody out. But these shirts,
the skill.
Shirts are great.
Yeah.
The shirt skill, great skill. But yeah, no, it's
quick addition to you, especially for Mark J in this like conversation. You can take moves to kind of reduce your stress. Okay. So you let's see, did they get to that just part? You can find ways to perform self-care, find the time to talk with other PCs. A PC can also step in, make listening ear advice or good distraction. Anything that you think would kind of benefit kind of calming down your character there. I believe it would be Mark J's empathy score -2. Yes, if they're taking a moment of self-care, or would it be if someone is trying to help you?
Yeah. Whoever is the instigator of it is the score that is used. So like, this conversation didn't sound like it reduced any stress to me, Navaar, but had it been that way, then I think we could use Paul's score,
because you mentioned like saying like, I just need to go like take a minute. If you went and like chilled, breathed, thought about it, like had your own introspective minute, it could be yours. If you're like, yo, help me, calm the fuck down, you could pull like.
I feel if he had taken the drink, it might have implied, because like I offered the help, but it was not received. So now we're kind of chatting, and I'm kind of walking with him to wherever he's going to take his break, so I know where he's at.
Because I feel like Marlon isn't the type of person to like let go. Some people don't let go of stress, and I feel like Marlon is that type of person.
No, legit.
Let's rank up that stress.
But
let's see what 5 levels of Marlon are.
He will walk Marlon to wherever Marlon's supposed to be at to take his moment and be like, I'll touch base with you later because we're going to have to go get that truck. But he's going to go find Emily is what he's going to go do right now. He's going to drop Marlon off to wherever Marlon's special koi pond-esque place is.
There's still a working like AVP style game in the movie theater, an arcade game.
Not with the power off.
Yeah, you walk up to it and you're like,
that's why I can't let go of my
it.
stress. Yes.
Yep.
And that's why I'm just like, God damn. Yeah. So that's where you probably leave me.
Yeah, let's say for ease, you walk in, you see that it is off. All the lights are off in here. Both of you are starting with this realization of like what exactly may be happening, with now the echoed fucks getting closer and closer as Emily is making her way down from the roof. We'll say that Demetrius, you've been able to kind of handle the getting all of the power kind of turned off. You were kind of there helping, seeing what exactly had some like damage and pointing it out, making that note that Allison, you have kind of come downstairs to check on everybody, and we're all in our little central location together, with, we'll say, kind of not like necessarily like leadership, but the people that are going to matter right now, which is obviously, we have Emily knowing the power. I think you see that a individual named Marcus, they have shown up. They are a little bit more on the, not electricity, but the tech side. Capgel kind of local network up and the likes. Both Frank and Elena for security are here to kind of like talk through what has happened, as well as, you know, obviously Doc, probably what most people call him, but Daniel and Sarah, who was the nurse, are still here, maybe patching up a few people. Will check on everyone, and then y'all and a few other kind of townsfolk that are walking in and out, especially a lot of those people like come to like grab their kids, make sure everything's okay, and kind of coming in and out here. And I think Frank probably is kind of leading the conversation as it starts, telling everybody what exactly happened. We'll look over to you, Darius, and is like, we cleaned up the rest of the corrupted, sent someone out to pull the Jeep up. Good shooting, and thought keeping that from getting too far.
Yeah. I mean, it's a resource. We don't have a ton of running cars left, and looks like we don't have power right now, so that might be real useful in the near future.
Yeah. Plus side, if we get power, that was a hybrid. All right. So it seems, and they'll kind of give a little bit of a rundown, describe a bit of what you said, that, or what you saw, that it seemed to have been the Alpha Omegas, or no, Alpha Sigmas, that's what we called them, Alpha Sigmas, the group of college kids that had kind of banded together after this and took over the college. That it seemed that obviously, as they were herding some of these corrupted this direction, a lot of them seemed to probably have been people from the college that had been turned, or from town, you know, that they had brought in. They had military grade equipment. Military was in the town, specifically at the college, so obviously maybe the military did not handle so well, or they are in cahoots, who knows. There kind of gives that whole rundown, whereas then Emily will chime in and be like, that fucking gun, we don't have enough power to keep everything going. We can rotate things through, but we need to keep heat and lights on the crops. We need to keep electricity on the freezers. Otherwise, we're going to run out of food, or we're going to have to do nothing but hunt. And it's about to be stormy. There's not going to be much out there, especially to feed 500 of us. This we need, and shows this like list of parts.
Okay.
Or just new generators, a whole new transformer, but this is at least what I need to fix it.
Okay. He'll ask for the Darius will ask for the list and start looking it over.
Yeah, we'll hand it over. Probably handed it to you pretty immediately. Like, was like, you know what's up.
Yeah, I assume that we've already scavenged out X range from town to get things already. Like,
probably a lot of what Jill did have was pulled from town to kind of keep it running, which is why y'all are so centralized, because there would have been a bit of chaos and damage when the outbreak happened. So the working things were brought to one central location.
Okay.
She's like, I have a few, like, you can see that she kind of like check marks a few things. I have a few extra bits and pieces here and there that we can work to do some of this. And at least in the meantime, we can rotate between the freezers and the heater. But
given that like
long.
we've all kind of grown up, like some of us have grown up around here,
Mhm.
I assume we haven't, and this is not quite off the freeway, but this is like on like that, like we're kind of like not necessarily a backwater town, but we're kind of smaller town, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. I
off
think
of-
at
we're
its
off of,
like height, it was like 5,000, so it wasn't like big, wasn't small.
So we're off like state roads.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'd say within like 15 miles in any direction, there's probably a gas station,
Mhm,
which we would be able to salvage parts from, but probably not gas from.
Right.
Which makes the new Jeep useful if it's a hybrid, like was just mentioned, so we can
Mhm.
get out there with less gas. So Darius is going to be like, so there's gas station here, here, and here, where he would recommend trying to pull things from. Because if anybody's scavenging from there, they're usually not scavenging generators and electrical parts. They're scavenging gas and other usable
Gas and
things.
food. Mhm.
So people are leaving that shit alone most of the time, unless they know exactly what they're doing with it. Because even if they're not running power through it, we can still rip the generators and the transpond and everything else out of there, put it in the back of the Jeep, and drive it back into town. And 10 to 15 miles, where it would be a long foot walk, it's much easier with the vehicle.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I guess if you can't get what you need there, just
We can
keep
once we
going.
figure
I
out
don't know
how
how much closer you want to get to. Hold on, I named the next town over. What did I say it was? Pine something?
Sure.
Pinecrest.
Mhm.
If these fuckers are there, I don't know how close you want to get to them, but they clearly are pulling their salvage from somewhere too. So keep that in mind.
I mean, my call would be to pull the gun off the top and put it on top of the theater, so we can if they
That's a
decide to
good
show back
fucking
up.
idea.
We don't need it on the truck. Like, it's also going to be more weight, and more weight means less gas mileage.
Yeah.
So I think we should probably strip that. Probably strip the door, like, because if it's a Jeep, we can probably strip the doors off and do it that way. Again, the less weight we carry, the more we're going to get out of the gas and the battery.
Yeah.
And then
Honestly, use the doors to patch some of the holes they made
Yeah.
in the wall.
I mean, my call would be strip the Jeep, figure out which gas stations we're going to hit in what order, fill up the tank, because I know we have enough to get around some. Like, because I assume we started gas rationing in town pretty quickly.
Oh yeah.
And if we're gas rationing in town, weirdly enough, if everybody's walking everywhere, you actually don't burn gas that quickly.
Yeah, it's like only when people need to leave for scavenging that probably gas is actually going to be used.
So-
And then, y'all probably had a lot more when it comes to like farm vehicles and things that are like very good off road, but like are diesel or gas guzzlers. So it's like, oh shit, hybrid.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So we can fill up the Jeep, and we can head out and hit those gas stations. We'd be back within less than a day.
All right. I think they all just kind of look to the four of you that have kind of gathered, especially since y'all probably ran on some things together. So.
I feel like when you started talking about lifting that gun and the ammo off into the theater or on the roof, everyone looked at me because I'm the biggest guy. I'm like,
oh yeah, you're gonna be carrying it. Yeah.
Nobody wants to help. Nobody.
No, I'm gonna help.
To,
it needs to be taken off appropriately. I'm gonna help you take it off. I'm gonna, do the things that need to get done. You don't have to do it by your lonesome. I got you.
appreciate that. Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I can do everything right here.
Also, build a pulley and lift it up that way instead of trying to carry it up a ladder.
I mean, I assume I'm making this assumption, but I assume it is probably like a 50 cal if you're mounting on a vehicle.
Yeah. Like it was
means
clearly
it is
pulled off of a military vehicle and put on.
So it
this.
means
Like,
it's man
like
portable with two people. Like it's definitely a pulley system would take way more time than just two people carrying the thing.
True.
But
ladders are hard.
I appreciate the effort in trying to make the thing easier.
40
for me.
feet on a ladder. Straight up and down. Yeah.
Yeah. You just tie a rope, have somebody at the top pull and steady it up. That's the fastest way to get it up there. But yeah, no, when we start doing it, we'll get people to help like take the doors off the Jeep and he'll do an ammo count for how much ammo they have, and go through the munitions count. And he will be very particular about people going and picking up the brass they used, because we do not have that type of shell casing laying around.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna have to repack all of those shells every time we use it.
I feel like you have an old like metal detector in the pawn shop. You'll just go in the field and like grab everything real quick.
He'll send somebody to do that actually, and probably also get a brass catcher for the gun. Like, he'll make a quick, easy like bag brass catcher, so that when people are firing it.
Catcher.
Yeah.
No, it's just a bag. It's not a magnetic one. It's
oh,
a bag.
No, knitted.
No, knitted. Yes, yeah. Allison did a brass catcher real quick, so that they could just mount that on the side of the gun, so we don't have to keep picking it up every time we use it, because that's just less labor for town.
Everybody can pick their color, what color you want.
But
I feel like I'll probably have like a few people in town, maybe not like an actual mechanic, maybe the actual mechanic a bit the dust, but like hobby mechanics, that like rebuild cars in their free time, that know some things, that are like able to kind of look over. I think there's probably very quickly someone grabs like some other like a black or a green spray paint and covers up this god awful like school color tag that has been happening on this vehicle, and makes it a little less noticeably. Well, I don't know. Actually, I think they'll ask you first. Do you want it to look like their vehicle, or do you want it to blend in with the city? Because they may know this vehicle's missing, or they might think you blend in.
Well, how much of the tag is left once all the doors are off and everything else is gone?
I mean, like the whole body of it was basically spray painted like blue. I think a lot of like, probably the actual like symbols and tags were on like windows, and maybe like, or on doors, and maybe on like the hood, so maybe the hood would be the only thing that has like a yellow tag, but the rest is that bright blue.
Well, yeah, we'll probably have them re-tag the hood, because also, we don't want the town to randomly shoot us on the way back, because they're jumpy and got jumped once today.
Valid.
Like this is all of like before 10 o'clock from the sound of things.
Yeah.
And so we have till about 4 or 5 to get back into town. Meaning, if we go 45 miles round trip and we go route, like, because it's not going to be the state roads will be semi-functional, and we're not going to run into a lot
Yeah.
lot of traffic. Also,
there's a good chance like cars have already been pushed off to the side, especially if they came that direction. Like,
But also, anything we may or may not want to salvage that would be useful to us and not them is very different. So we might take a little bit of time to do that and head more slowly. But yeah, I think. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, please finish.
I think it's just mostly a matter of, hey, we want to leave by noon, because this is going to be the rest of the day, and we don't want to be out at night. So it is being efficient to get everything we need to get done as quickly before noon, so we can head out by noon, including like getting lunch packed and everything else we want to do.
Yeah.
Restocking ammo, restocking weapons.
Yeah, I will say for that, since y'all are at home, whatever was already on like your salvage list, especially when it comes to like ammunition and stuff, like is you were full with that, at least. How did glasses get so dirty just on your face?
Hey, Allison.
Yes.
What was your handle online again? Off above the table.
Shit, Mark J, why'd you ask me that? That's a really good question that I didn't think of.
Craftin' Allison. Craft. Craftison.
It's not Alley Craft.
Alley Craft.
Craftison. Wait.
Alley Craft is cute though, and then you can have like a little cat as your logo.
Ooh.
An alley cat.
Oh, that's really cute. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
That's where I was going from. So
yeah.
Nice.
Alley Craft. I look down at my shirt and it's kind of ripped, torn, and I pull it over my head, and I resist the urge to do that movie. You flex your back, but I'm trying to keep it in, because I'm like, I don't really know.
You were first the urge to usher, like Usher did last night. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Hey, can you fix my shirt? Can you sew this up? Like, I just about torn to shreds, but my shirt didn't make it. Can you fix this?
Yeah, I have patches, and she'll like like pull on? Is there like a particular color? I got a few. I don't have everything, but you know, I could patch it up if.
Just I don't know, make it look good. You know what you're doing, man. You
Or
seem
like
to know what you're doing.
or a new one? Do you want a new one?
I'll hold up the shirt and you can see it too. It says what's my last name? Saint Road Family Reunion, 2002, something like that. No, not a new one. I just need this one to hang in there for a little bit longer.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. I mean, did you look at me? Did you want me to also go? I could did because I can. I was just saying I could like help stitch this like while we're on the road. If you were looking at me to also go, like
Yeah.
looking just everyone like in
You're
like
looking at
the,
I mean, you'll be able to identify things that we wouldn't think of to salvage for clothing, as well as growing things while we're on the road. And given this is a salvage run, I figure it's a good call. Unless you really don't want to go.
No, I can go. That's fine. I can sew this while we're on the road. So,
No. Don't take it with you. Keep it here. I don't want something to happen to it.
Okay.
Then you should probably get a new shirt before we go out in the cold. Then, unless you're just looking to be,
I am looking shredded. I'm looking big, looking jacked. Like, oh, do I have to?
I mean, if you want to, if we need to cut glass, we know whose nipples to use.
Emily quietly is like, no, you don't have to.
I think Allison's gonna be like, oh, wait 1 second, and she'll run back to like where her bunk is, where I think she just has kind of like spare stuff that she's worked on, and maybe she's done like a sweater vest, like a sleeveless sweater vest. That's literally just like, it's like this, like where it's just like the big like knit together. So she's like, it doesn't have sleeves, but it's warm. So you could wear,
like we're literally expecting a snowstorm, right?
Yeah.
I think this one will work. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good fit. That's not bad. That's not bad.
Emily again is like, yeah, no, it's not bad. I'm gonna go work.
Darius will literally look at Demetrius and for like once kind of weirdly give that solemn weirdly agree thing, like, why is this a thing? We're literally going to go out in the cold. Let's be pragmatic and practical for the one moment, for 5 minutes. Like, it's all relayed in that look of like,
I think I think he says to Allison in regards to coming along, I think it would be great training anyway, just to like spend more time out there, kind of see, get used to having to deal with this stuff. So
yes, yeah, I love the sound of that. And you'll see, like, if you could read like eyes, like if eyes could say things, it's just like panic.
oh, I know.
yeah. Just like, totally.
Well, tighten the straps a little bit on your backpack. You should not wear it that low. It's that's bad for your back. It's going to swing around when you're running. Like,
oh Jesus,
just gotta.
Okay.
I just want you to be prepared, because if we do need to run, it won't be good for you.
She's gonna look at her like water shoes that she has like the sandals like Velcro and like I have tennis shoes in my bunk.
Fingers.
Yes. Those would actually be good. These, I'm thinking like those. Oh, what is that? I can't remember that brand, but
Chacos.
It's literally Chacos. It's like that. And she's like, I have tennis shoes. I'm gonna go get those, and we'll like run off and change.
Yeah.
Comes back with the backpack, super like, just like
tight,
strapped up.
I feel like it's like that, tennis shoes, and maybe like a couple of chunky blankets.
Right.
Who said it was gonna be cold?
We can keep them stocked in the car, for the next group that uses it.
It's so good.
Yeah, they're with help of other people in town, you're able to get the doors off, the hood kind of repainted, the big gun pulled up and started to get installed onto the roof, and like everything that Shelly kind of set into motion. You're able to recoup your ammo rations. Allison finds the gun in her purse and is like, oh yeah, and like is ready to go. And y'all are able to with record time, get everything kind of settled, get lunches packed, and able to get into the car. Who is our driver? Just in case we ever need to avoid anything, so I know who is in charge of everyone's lives.
My driving skill is 0.
Oh wait, we need to have driving skills. I was about to volunteer, but let me not.
You can still volunteer even if your skill's trash.
Yeah, I feel like it's like one of those things where it's like, y'all all, it's only been a year. You've all probably driven at least a little bit, especially in a small town. But it's like, are you skilled enough to avoid zombies and oncoming problems if that's to happen? Maybe not.
Yeah. I'm going to give Demetrius a trait of mine in that he can drive. He does not like to drive. He'd much rather sit in the seat and just write in his notes. So I think, he's going to opt out of driving.
I'll drive then. Marlon will drive.
Because there's a big ass hole, and in the top where the heavy gun used to be, I'm going to volunteer to like be on like that type of position on the lookout, because I think I'm the best with a long rifle out of the group. So
yeah, you see that there probably was like a moonroof or like a sunroof at one point in time. That's like they had kind of busted that out, got the gun like all set up, and so you're able to still have like a hole.
Yeah, I can't drive and shoot long rifle out top at the same time. I mean, I guess I could, but I did not take that level of driving plus that level of shooting. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, then we will start taking off. Marlon, I think you said in the driver's seat for now.
Yeah.
And continue out of town. You're kind of like rolling over some of these corrupted, trying to get around them that had already been dropped on the ground and not quite cleaned up quite yet. And able to go over that blockade as easily as it had before, as well. I think you kind of noticed too that this is the top. I had that like a little bit of like a plow or ramming situation on the front. Like you still have that. You have a little bit of a control to kind of lift it, so when you're going over stuff, you're not like absolutely wrecked. And continue on out of town. This road on a normal before everything would have been gorgeous, as it's kind of snakes along the edge of the hills. And, you got the hill kind of going up to one side, some of these taller trees speckled around, probably some old farms and ranches all throughout the river. On one side, we said that, there's one winery that was closer to town that y'all are still kind of like operating and having some grapes and booze. But there were some others here that have been kind of, left to disrepair, but still a bit picturesque. But definitely there are remnants of chaos, as there's a couple of barns that, clearly have caught fire. You can see some vehicles that maybe were wrecked or just abandoned, maybe others kind of burnt out, doors ripped open, things. These are all that, if y'all had it, someone would have already kind of siphoned some gas, especially a lot of these closer to town. You've picked through pretty much anything in this area. But after a bit, you get closer to one of the gas stations that is, the next stop in the road, basically the only stop in the road before you get into like either your town or Pinecrest proper, and are able to pull in. So far, everything has been pretty quiet. The plus side, and I think why y'all have survived so long, is there weren't a lot of people out here in general anyway, or if so, they were caught in the city, and then that was dealt with in the ways that we see dealt with in the end of the worlds with military force or other things that kind of kept it a little bit more isolated, or what has trickled out has been dealt with over the last year a little bit. But you get to, gas and go kind of mom and pop, old Chevron gas pumps out in the front. And I think they are probably older, even by y'all standards. They're not like super old school, but it's definitely a gas station that has been around for 20 years and hasn't really changed much in 20 years. Probably was owned by someone who lived in one of these ranches nearby as well. One of the windows busted open, has been for a long time. The shelves nearly bare. The fridge units and stuff either ripped out and probably in y'all's theater, or taken by other things or in disrepair. But what exactly are you wanting to try and gather? What are we looking for? What is our point of action, I guess, here?
Before we get there, can we rewind a little bit?
Absolutely.
Because I feel like Marlon is a nervous driver and likes to have conversations on the way. So, Mr. Stroud, was that you on the roof shooting?
Yeah. Yep.
Did you know who that kid was? Stormlord 42. He was like top 10 ranked Fortnite. He was a League of Legends champion. Like, you blew his hands off, man.
And you can just like see him like Stormlord 42.
He's on Twitch, or our version of Twitch. He's hundreds of thousands of followers, man. He's kind of a big deal.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, Marlon, I don't really follow. I know Black Don't Crack, but I am in my 40s, and I just that whatever that never really appealed to me. Fortnite, yeah, that never really appealed to me. So,
but I'm just saying,
was deep in the
trenches. That was a person, that was a.
I mean, you
before
understand
all this, he was somebody. He wasn't
I'm a
just
person
some
too.
Random.
You a person too. Like he shot our build. He almost shot me. He shot our generators. We don't have power no more. Like
I'm not justifying it. It's just so strange to me that that kid would show up shooting at us that day. I don't know.
I mean, that's the thing about the apocalypse. Nobody's who they used to be. Can't be anymore. We can't afford that.
What's the old line? You can't go home.
Can't go home.
Mm-hmm.
So, Stormlord 42 or whatever.
I don't even know his real name. That's the wildest part about it. He was just a attack, I guess.
I mean, I guess on the one hand, look, taking a life is never something that we should find easy, and I don't. And I don't know, it's tough. And you can see like he's like writing down notes. He's like, I think the thing that like really is standing out to me now in this situation is like, I mean, if the government was still around, they'd probably be scouting kids like Stormlord 42 to put them in the military, because clearly there's something that was built into this kid that he thought he could handle this gun, shoot at this building, and it just didn't register. There must be something there. And you just like writing more notes down. But yeah, I'm sorry that the dude that you followed died. But it's one of those situations now. It's us or them, unfortunately.
Isn't that like a something social relationship?
Yeah, parasocial. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've had friends that have had parasocial relationships with me, so I definitely understand. I understand that. Yeah.
What?
You meet some people at a con, and you're just, holy shit. I don't even know who you are, Stormlord 42. Thank you for reading my book. This is that kind of a weird situation.
Yeah. Are you working on something? Are you got another best time seller?
I mean, nobody's buying, but you're always working on something.
I mean, I'd buy it.
All right, it's gonna cost you a box of bullets.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sleep with a lot of people to get that box of bullets, but I can whip it up. Winter's coming, and there's gonna be a lot of lonely people.
You can see like Demetrius's face, like his eyebrows raised a little bit, and he gives like a knowing nod of like, yeah, I think you're gonna sleep with a lot of people.
I think Allison can envision Darius's eyes rolling at the concept of like, we have to start selling books again because he has moved into that like full blown like, why are we trying to reinforce old social societal standards? Like, we are in a post capitalist world. Let's not go back. Like,
yeah. I don't know. It's not ready. I'm in the note taking phase. Sometimes we're out of chapter, but it's not ready yet. I'll let you know though. You have plenty of time to save up.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, don't stress too much about that kid though. There will be other Stormlord 42s. Maybe today there will be other Stormlord 42s. You got to take care of yourself. Make sure you're alive, okay? Because we need you. We need all of us, or we don't have a community anymore.
Probably the best thing that happened from all this is being around people. But don't tell anyone I said that. I'll whoop the shit out of all you.
No, I understand. I'm just saying, if Taylor Swift walks out and shoots a 50 caliber gun at you, please consider your life. That's all.
I can't, above the table, I can't say that I would throw a bullet out in the direction of Taylor Swift because I don't want to get on the internet caught saying
we're not
that
saying
anyway.
that. We're just saying consider your life if a Taylor Swift is shooting a gun at you.
It's you.
I don't
or
want
Taylor
that
Swift.
Swifty. I don't want that Swifty smoke, man. I don't want that smoke.
Maybe it's not even Taylor Swift. Maybe it's the Lovato lady. They were like, she seems like somebody just start shooting up for no reason.
Demi Lovato? Yeah.
Yeah.
They kick some ass. They come ready for a fight.
Yeah.
I love. Let's just now spend the rest of our 30 minutes here talking about what celebrities we think would kick ass in the zombie apocalypse.
That would be a good like driving conversation to have.
Truly,
like
truly.
Who's alive and what they're doing.
There's
Also
a
really
podcast
good
talkback idea, Navaar. What celebrities would survive in your world?
Survive in the apocalypse, yeah. In the
Well, of course, Channing
Yeah.
Tatum survives in every apocalypse. Let's be really clear.
Damn.
And The Rock,
Dance his
because
way
there are many
around.
movies in which they survive the apocalypse by
Yeah.
being a badass. So
Mhm. So we got Dwayne. Like, I feel
Dwayne
like
and
that is the
Demi
rest of
just
the
kicking ass.
conversation. It's Dwayne and Chad. Like, we have like a 45. We have like the next 20 minutes of the conversation is discussing us which celebrities, and then be like, which one? It's the reverse of like what is it? Marry, fuck, kill. Like it turns into like corrupted, dead, save. Like that's what we start doing until we get to the gas station. Like,
nice.
Allison moved away from crocheting and pulled out her notebook to build like a bracket, and is just writing all these down, like who we've been like, oh, they would, but they wouldn't.
Factions are created. These two can't get along. It's impossible.
Oh yeah,
You cannot have Vin Diesel and Dwayne The Rock Johnson on the
Mhm.
same community. That's not going to happen.
Cat Williams and all the other comedians to be
And every other comedian.
vying
Yeah.
factions.
and every other comedian ever.
I feel like this is like a maybe like our community like bonding thing. Just kind of like everybody goes around and is like, okay, tonight's tournament night. Did you put $5 on the rock? Yeah, okay. And just like kind of like the water cooler talk of the apocalypse.
Speaking of which, can we reduce our stress?
Absolutely.
Ooh, yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like y'all are having a nice kind of like take your mind off of things moment.
Yeah, once we start discussing celebrities, I think that is the stress reduction conversation for sure.
Yeah, talking celebrities, you got the cool breeze in your face, the pretty view. You're not too worried. Like this is a drive that y'all, especially if you go out on salvaging messages a lot, like probably go out this direction. I feel like we hit a point in which the state roads split or there's like some trails through the mountains. So this is a very driven track.
Yeah. We just happen to be going out further than we normally do.
Right.
Stress reduction is your empathy score. Your empathy modifier.
-2, but with a minimum of 1, you will always reduce at least 1.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
Yep.
I'm
Right.
less stressed.
But yeah, y'all make it to this gas station, kind of pull in. You're able to turn off the Jeep. where is everyone looking? What y'all up to?
Well, from the sound of things, I assume the power lines in this place are not buried. I assume, based upon everything you've told us, these are old school, up in the air power lines. So I am looking, because I have maintenance and engineering.
Yeah.
I am looking for the junction box that's going to be, because that's going to have a lot of the parts we need, and that's one of the. And there's usually like a smaller smaller thing up there that, like, basically, this is going to sound really shitty. We're going to knock over a fucking power. We're going to knock over the power line. We have a thing on the front of the Jeep. Knocking that down and salvaging that part, or knocking it down in a manner that's not super destructive, is going to get us a lot of what we need.
Yeah. I mean, there's not, a power running through it, so you're not having to worry about much. You might just nose it to where it like falls over on the building a bit, and y'all can kind of pull down so nothing smashes. Yeah, absolutely.
Could I try to get up on the roof of that gas station, or somewhere where I can see like the top of a generator, and see if I can just pull parts that we could use for our generator back home?
Yeah, absolutely, you can.
Well, I do have a question. This is a case of she would prefer replacements, but will take parts, is what I got from what Emily said, right?
Right. Like, can get lots of parts are always going to be helpful. So if you do bring them back, great. If it is going to be everything to fix it, who knows? Like, these are the actual items that would be great to just like go steal this from somewhere.
Sure. But if we can afford to take everything, it's better. So getting the whole unit would be better in this particular case, rather than dismantling it.
Yeah, if you want to.
Like, I will kind of.
I will say, as you're kind of looking, this is torn down. This has been salvaged a bit. It's probably not going to be a complete finished thing, which would mean you would load up some of the other bits, like whatever is actually on your junction box. Obviously, good. When we're talking more the generator parts and stuff, it has also probably been pulled from a bit. You're looking, it's been up in the weather. It's probably a little rusted. It wasn't covered.
Sure.
So you could get that. So you would definitely have parts, and you would definitely have a complete thing. You will need to continue to salvage more. Do y'all want to put that in the back of the Jeep right now and deal with that in transit, or at least tear it down, stuff it in the back of the gas station, and pick it up on your way home, kind of vibe?
I would say we should take it, and if we are gonna scrap it, somebody can get in the back of the Jeep and scrap it as we're going.
Okay.
Because again, we're working against daylight, and if we are stuck out at night, we are in much worse shape. So the goal is to try to hit these three like gas station situations, try to salvage as many parts as we can, and see what we've got checked off the list before we get back. Because if we get most of it or all of it, that's the best possible outcome type situation.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. So
like,
let's start with our kind of tearing it down, looking, salvaging bits here. Just to see what we've got, what you can kind of guess as you're throwing it into the car. So I guess first we'll start with Darius. What did you say you had a high bit that you were wanting to go with? Intellect and
I have maintenance and engineering, whichever one is better. They're both the same score at 3.
Do engineering, why not?
Okay, sure. That is 1 + 3 for 4. Oh, that is an 18, so 22.
Nice. All right.
The bottom is going to drop out on me during the next combat scene is what's going to happen. Like, I'm rolling well now and look really cool, and I'm going to be like, first roll the next combat. 2. All right, time to start eating that stress.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you are able to maybe like kind of guide Marlon into hitting the power line just right, kind of bring it down onto something that's not going to mess up. You and Demetrius, the D's. I need, that's going to be a new rule in my game, is everyone has a name that starts with a different letter. You and Demetrius are up on the top.
You're not wrong. They're spelled completely different, but they pronounce completely similarly. So you have two people with very similar
us sounding at names. The end.
Yep.
like what's the middle syllables here? But you're up there kind of getting that while Demetrius, you're looking over this generator, and it's just like a basic one that was just probably been here for the gas station as a whole to kind of keep the gas pumps running if like a winter storm came through and like power was out, like just kind of that backup. So it's been here, it's been in the elements for a bit. And you're starting to look through and kind of salvage it. Would you also like to roll so we can actually get some salvage, some resources here? Kind of looking through this. Ba-da-da-da. Oh my god, I just like nearly choked myself. Okay, so question, I guess, for you: would this run better, as in like you're doing the same thing, kind of intellect, that sort of thing, or would it pair? Because I'm kind of thinking with our resource and our salvage, you're more looking at like miscellaneous items. Would we want to like roll to kind of build our resource list, or would it be better?
I think it's
like
like
salvage?
resources. He's like looking at like, okay, like here's this cover panel, I can use that. Here's like a circuit board inside of here that's still good, I could use that. And just like
so you don't have to like do both,
off.
like look in and then roll. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, because I kind of have a little running list here of like how many like resources are on her actual list compared to just getting the item. So obviously kind of getting a bit of this transformer words, whatever Darius kind of gathered, obviously cuts it down, but to get those generators repaired, we're going to get some resources there. So for, I mean, just miscellaneous is a D4 minus 2. Yeah. Why did I switch pages? This is my page for these notes.
So you want me to roll the D4 minus 2?
Yeah.
I rolled a 4, so 2.
Nice. All right. You got like a little tick box here. I'll get 2 of them to almost have a entire. My squares turned into D's about halfway through that. Okay.
Too many D's in this game.
So many D's.
There's too much D in this game. That's what we learned.
You can't even say like they turned into D's on my things. But hey, this is how much y'all got. So we're at 2 of 8 on our generator parts. I'll say with that, you've got about half of what you would need to fully repair the actual power system. By stealing that like whole thing off that no one's gonna think to take that. People will think to mess with generator stuff, not like a power line and the actual like junction boxes. So what are Allison and Marlon doing after obviously you kind of help push over the thing there and are kind of waiting? You're all just hanging out in the car, you kind of like poking around to see if there's anything else. What's the vibe for you two?
Does this gas station have like an inside?
Yes.
Like where? Okay, I think Allison, before they left, got Emily to maybe some of the smaller things on the list, got her to like doodle what they look like. She doesn't know the name of any of these things, so it's like a picture reference would be great. And then I think she's gonna go.
It's like a Phillips head screwdriver. It's like, this is what it looks like at the end.
Exactly. And she knows, like, you know, when you go into some of those, like, not even bigger gas stations, just like that have like a decent inside, they have like the car section, like the auto section,
especially being out here in the middle of nowhere. This one probably definitely does, you know, it's got a little more catch-all,
right? And so I think she's gonna kind of look there, but also in like there's that other section that has like medicine or like rags or anything like that, and she's going to very comfortably and stiff arm with her gun kind of like go in. It looks awkward as fuck, but yeah, she's like trying to be, she's like, hey, at least it's up, and it's you know, like she's trying to be ready for if anything's in there, but is gonna just see what's inside.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and roll. If you're kind of looking through, I'll say that a lot of this has been picked over, obviously, as most things are, especially when it comes to any sort of like food. Perishables are either taken or disgusting. But if you're looking specifically in the section to see if there's like some little sleeves of Advil left, you know, some other an ace bandage like that rolled under the cabinet, like those sort of things. Go ahead and just roll. We'll do if we're doing our kind of like resource here, let's do a D4 minus 2 and see if you can find some sort of like extra medical supplies here.
So just a D4 minus 2?
Okay.
Oh, that's a that's a negative, because I got a 1. Math. That's a negative 1.
All right. So Yeah, you are kind of looking, and it has been picked over. You get real excited because you see like a box that says like Advil, but it's like clearly been like ripped open and all those little sleeves taken out. And you're like, asshole, take the box. Don't get my hopes up, you know? So you kind of like go over to the other side where there's a little bit more of the what would have been left of like tools, bungee cables, random stuff, and roll another d4 minus 2 for me. See if you can find any sort of extra items there. You're muted if you're trying to
talking to myself. You say -2?
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a 1.
Okay. Yeah, you are looking very picked over, but you're able to get like under one of the cabinets where there were like some bins that clearly held like random nuts and bolts and things. You find a few, like maybe a little handful of like some of those little nuts and bolts that were some things like, hey, if you find these would be great. Please grab them. Like, so you've got well, so just say like miscellaneous items in ways of like a tool there.
Can I do, just because I put this in my little, just something she does when she goes on missions, can I do like another just kind of like random look to see if there's anything that maybe she would pick up that could like help with like her crafting? So just for her.
Yeah, for real quick, if you're just kind of looking generally, gonna look at the place, roll for me. Well, let's say like which one? Judgment or intellect, but alertness. As you're kind of like seeing what's around, seeing what the vibes are, seeing what might be useful.
Alert
vibes, abandoned gas station.
Would you say judgment or what was that?
Intellect.
Okay, I'm gonna do judgment, which is +2, and then my alertness, which is +4.
Nice.
Son of a gun, and I got a natural 1. That's fun. So that's a 7.
Okay. With a 7, you're looking around and everything.
Hang on, wait. Oh
yeah.
Natural 1 is always a natural 1.
It's really
that's
bad.
true.
Means you are emotionally compromised. Or if Taylor has something else to compromise you with, you're compromised. So.
I think the reason, because you are also taking 3 stress in this moment.
You found something triggering.
Yes, you did. Which I'm so glad you rolled as badly as you did, and instead it's more impactful than mystery. You're looking around, and you notice, you know how there's like the fridges in gas stations, but it's like there's a room on the other side, then that's where they like put things. You hear something and you look over as like there's a section that some of these shelves and stuff that are inside have been like kind of broken apart. Busting out of this door, tackling you to the ground, is a corrupted. But this is a corrupted that is shirtless, has random pieces of armor, has blue and yellow body paint on it. It has this like black, like perfectly black eyes with this black sludge coming out of like the tear ducts and running out of its mouth and nose. And it is just like trying to like rip into you. All of you hear this commotion.
I was about to say, if y'all, if I could, which I don't know how much effort it takes to scream, you guys hear a classic Scream Queen scream, like coming from the inside there.
What would anyone like to do real quick as this like, has let off?
I think Demetrius is at the back of the building, probably. If it's like a single story gas station, the generator is probably in the back, and he is just going to stop what he's doing and try to run. And I know too much about doors, and that's my problem. I don't think the door is going to swing into the building, and so I think he's going to just smash the glass, like the nearest storefront glass, with the butt of his rifle to try to break it and jump in.
Yeah. And so you smash through, and if you're in the back, it'll kind of go into like what would be a little office storage room, probably the door to what would have been this kind of cooler. in there. And you see shit just like thrown all over the place. This place has been picked over as well. But you see that the door that goes to this cooler has been like locked, like onto kind of maybe like a pipe or pole into the door handle to kind of keep it locked with what looks to be just like a really shitty bunch of rope or something, like scrap pieces. But then here the scuffling to your left that goes into the rest of it, and you're able to see Allison on the floor with this like Alpha Sigma freshly turned corrupted over her.
Okay. Yeah, I think then seeing that is not going to try to shoot at it. It's just going to like drop his rifle, pull out. He's got a like a survival machete. They're just like big machete with like the saw on the back, and it has like all this other like little different blades to it. Or notches in the blade rather, and is just going to run over and just try to like drive the blade of the machete into the back of this thing's head as it's on top of Allison. Yeah.
Absolutely. So go ahead and roll for me. I am assuming that is brawn plus your melee.
Okay.
If you're being a little more hefty with it.
Yeah. So this is a +1. I have a 0 in melee weapons and a 1 in brawn.
Okay. It's bad when they hide behind the microphone.
I rolled a 3, and that's a +1 is a 4, so it's a fail.
Yup. Too stressed. I get another here.
Yeah, and because this is to help in it, or an attempt to help Allison, when a result is rolled while you're compromised, that's a failure. You're still compromised and you lose something, either tangible or abstract, and you take 2 stress.
Oh, so sorry there, Allison. So 2, what, because especially if it's abstract, what do you think is happening as he's like ripping? Is it like something like just the gun gets thrown out of your hand, or is it like innocence lost? My trust in my compatriots.
Yeah.
And think also, because that's probably enough stress that it gets you to your first level. So if that informs you a bit of how your stressors reflect, remind you of your current conflict.
I
falter.
think
It's just bad.
it's very bad. I think something that. Ooh, okay. I think in this moment she's gonna kind of like have, because I think, especially today, but like this whole year that they've been a part of this thing, I think deep down she realizes that she maybe doesn't have like all the skills to take on a lot of this stuff, but she's tried to be positive and try to like, do anything she possibly can. I think in this moment it's going to be a, wow, you are so worthless. Look what you did. You came in here and you like have now put us in a horrible situation. And maybe with that kind of conflict, kind of thinking about maybe there was like a look earlier that it didn't really dawn on her in the moment, but thinking back to it, that Demetrius kind of gave her in that conversation after talking to Emily,
Of being
of like
prepared or trained.
Right. So it's like, not only does she's like, I'm thinking that, but I know other people think that too.
Yeah, it's like a loss of confidence.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. And that's kind of, I think that's kind of like making it a little hard to fight back in a way. So yeah, I think that's kind of where she's at. Could that be What's it called? Could that be? Or I guess because I have to do. Do I have to do a conflict if I'm past?
You can add more conflicts. Like if now you think you've like added one.
Yeah, if there's something new, you can add another one. But your conflict isn't like something that goes away as soon as you hit a point. It's just like this is a point of something that you're gonna like that comes back to the player when they're stressed out.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and it's not like a certain conflict aligns with a level. It's like whatever annoys you that moment that aligns with any of your conflicts could come into play.
Gotcha. Because I was gonna say if I could, I would have a conflict with, and it's more like a sad conflict than a mad conflict.
Yeah.
Like a conflict with Demetrius of I know that he sees me as like unprepared and like
less capable,
that really
useless.
Yeah.
No.
We're all thinking it. It's okay. It's okay.
We're all. I said the quiet part out loud. It's fine.
Yeah. So I think like what that looks like for the failure from Demetrius is like it's swinging its arm back and it hits his blade to the side, and he kind of like stumbles over and has to like get back up again. And we've given it so many points. So. And there's other people. I mean, I like Demetrius is going to continue to fight throughout this scene, but that's where we're at.
Absolutely.
I think I'm the last one to get there, so I will let Mark show up because I'm on the roof, and unless there's a skylight, it's going to take me a second.
Takes you a hot second. Real quick though, it is going to continue. Like it jumped out. Now it's actually going to attack a bit more forcefully, especially with Allison kind of faltering, Demetrius, adding points for me to do.
Demetrius helping
him. I think, Allison, you are struggling back at this individual, and it is like. I feel like, especially in this moment, like being so low, it's like, oh shit, this is it. As he just like rips down like across like your shoulder and neck with this like just gloved kind of, but like it's like those kind of just like fingerless gloves. He's got those like just claws with you, and it's like I think it's less of like a scratch and a puncture as it's just like a heavy hit. When I'm using my points, like it's just a straight 3 HP damage, right? Like there's no roll to avoid it. That is the hit. So you're gonna take 3 damage as you were just getting just like slashed into, like the air knocked out of you from this thing, that like goop just like starting to like drip off. So yes.
What's Allison's HP total?
Well, it started at 12. So now it is at 9.
Okay.
Yeah, math.
Once you hit 8 and lower, then you start to take negatives, just so you're aware.
Yep.
This is great. Hey, we get to show this kind of how this looks in a game. I'm glad that Allison could be used for that before she dies. No, I'm kidding. Maybe.
Inevitable end.
Yeah, what's Marlon doing as you hear the scream and the chaos?
Yeah, Marlon was in the Jeep, in the driver's seat of the Jeep, just kind of keeping an eye out on the road in case something comes by. He's got his Zune with his headphones in, and he hears this scream, reaches for his axe, hops out of the Jeep, runs to the door of the gas station, and sees the scene of Darius and I'm just calling you April, but that's not your name.
Demetrius and Allison.
None of us
Sorry,
know names.
Demetrius and
Allison.
Allie Craft.
Allie Craft, yeah.
And I got the falter from earlier. Does that still maintain? No?
Conditions happen when they happen, and then you don't have to do the condition again unless you go beneath stress, that conflict level, and then come back up again.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. In that case, I step forward and I try to I just try to separate them.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Let me see.
Are you doing it like as like part of attack, like just kind of hitting it to the point that like the force will kind of push it back a bit, or are you like I'm grappling, pulling them off?
Let me rephrase that. I'm gonna step forward and raise my axe over my head and try to swing down onto its back. So that is brawn plus melee. Oh shit, that's a 20. 13 plus 2 plus 7.
It was a what?
20.
Okay, absolutely. Go ahead and roll your damage for me. That does it is a crit. Let's see. Let me see, because this is the table for someone who's compromised. Beautiful. So get yourself into it. So does that mean Mark J gets to reduce a stress, or Allison gets to, because they were the one that was corrupted and get pulled away or like separated a bit? Both?
Both, yeah.
Nice.
So nice. Mark will still get to reduce stress by 1, and your attack is still double damage. And then Allison reduces her stress by 1 and is no longer compromised.
Hell yeah.
You're still on the floor. This thing is still over you. Hopefully
still
this crit will kill it. But
it might be dead. Yeah, it might be dead. Let's see. What was our total damage here?
What was the roll again? What was the die roll?
So what is your bonus to your melee?
It's a melee plus 3.
All right, so you roll a d8, and then we'll double that.
D8. Oops, that's all my dice falling.
Rolled so much damage.
Try to find a D8.
I don't know if you know this. I rolled all of the damage.
Okay. That is 14.
Holy shit. And that's just the I'm guessing
That's
7
double.
times 2. Whew.
Yeah.
You behead this individual fully as you just like bring this axe down just like right on the spinal cord. It falls limp like onto Allison. The head, the misfitting like helmet that was also on this one, separating and rolling in various directions. Demetrius, you're watching this house, you get a moment to breathe as just like Marlon has walked in and just wrecked shit. Like, is so imposing in this very small store.
And that's how Marlon got his groove back.
Question about the corrupted for a second. The creatures. Is it, and maybe this is like an obvious, but is it like a thing where it is the bite that turns, or like if I got blood in my mouth, then I'm like fucked?
So there is an actual answer to this, but I always like to, as a GM, make people do a luck roll to see if they've ever had the opportunity to discover that based on prior experience. So we could do that, Taylor, if you want to.
Yeah.
So
I was probably anyone in this room that watched Allison probably get got, right?
Yeah, I'll do it too to see if Demetrius knows. But yeah, just basically you're going to do a D20 roll, and 11 or higher, and 10 or lower, you don't know.
Ooh,
I don't know. I don't know shit. That was the one. Luckily, this is not an actual roll, so I'm not going to eat a bunch of stress for rolling a
so much stress because you don't know
this doesn't do anything for
gonna
stress.
Die.
13.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
I knew those good rolls were going to start coming back to haunt me. I'm happy it landed on this lucky roll and me not having to eat a bunch of stress in the situation.
Does Marlon know?
On a D6
or
a D6, D20.
D20,
Do I add anything to it? Sorry.
Nope.
Just luck.
Flat,
It's just
11
a
or higher,
5.
10 or less.
A 5.
5, yeah.
Okay. So I think then I think what happens is that Marlon, you see this kind of like the blood and everything go all over Allison. Demetrius also has experienced this, and Allison has experienced this. And so I think like there might be like some kind of like panic coming from Marlon, and Demetrius is going to step in front of him and just be like, look, you're good. We just need to clean off your face. Like any of this blood that's black, we need to get this off your face. because the blood itself is fine. It's the corruption in the blood that is what makes you turn. So, and usually it has to like either come from the monster or be on its own and enter your mouth. But like if it's just the blood, you have a pretty high chance of not being corrupted. So,
gotcha. I think she'll probably kind of do like a bit of a if it's dead, like scurry as fast as she can to get out from under it, and then pull out those bandages that she had earlier, and it's just kind of like just like instantly like just getting that like off of her face, and is probably in a mix of like tears too, so that's helping.
That's helping. It's like
I think I think Demetrius will like also I'll use a one of my units of water to just like pour it on the rag and like help you get cleaned up as well. And you have a giant like, what's that?
I feel this is an appropriate time to have made it off the roof and into the room.
Yeah. You're here as the cleanup is happening. For sure.
I'm looking around, seeing everybody start cleaning, like, what the hell happened type moment. Like, what is...
Yeah. I think that was kind of like getting that first. And then once like Demetrius, you're like talking about the scrape, she'll kind of like, and like that now comes into play of like, the knit sweater did nothing to protect.
Who'd have guessed?
Who'd have guessed it?
In fact, there's like a lot of like the strings that have pulled really loose from like getting stuck in his claws here. But
so Darius will legit come like rushing over to Allison at that point in time.
Yeah.
And like is with the wound, and he'll like take out a flask because he keeps a flask on him. And he's like, all right, this is gonna suck. And he's gonna look at her like, do you want something to bite? Because this is gonna suck.
Okay. Maybe there's like some kind of I don't know, she had her notebook that she was writing. She'll just take the little pencil and kind of really shaky like put it in her mouth.
Not the pencil.
Just snaps as soon as the liquor like touches the wound.
It's one of those artists. It's an artist pencil, so it's a little bit thicker. Like
keep in mind
the carpenter one. It's the flat one.
Yeah, the carpenter one.
Yeah, like keep in mind, it's moonshine, so it's high proof. It's not like this is like he's still got a nice bottle of bourbon. This is like homegrown moonshine, so it's like it's gonna sting no matter what happens. And he's gonna take his other hand and hold her hand and like dump like about half the flask on the wound, like over the cuts.
She is trying really hard not to like full out scream again, because I bet that's painful as hell.
So because treating wounds has a mechanical thing,
it does. And I have first aid.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Plus, it's fun if you fail.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Super fun when I fail.
Yeah.
Okay, so must roll a 10 plus to exceed on either first aid or medicine surgery. So you have first aid, plus the injured party's vitality modifier.
Okay. Well, I have rolled
you
a
are
flat
above
10.
8 HP, so you are able to be treated.
Yeah.
My vitality modifier is +1.
I have rolled a flat 10, so that is 12 total. So I use her vitality modifier, my skill, and then the roll. Or did I misunderstand that? Okay.
Yeah, so, I think it's just
Yep.
Yes.
So, I have rolled above. We have done the deed.
All right, and it is just a 10, or what was the total?
It's a 12 total.
12 total, which I think is just a flat success, or is that considered partial? Where is my?
It's still it's still a partial success in terms of successes, but it's going to do the trick of
so you're gonna HP by 1, but then taking a stress from that pain there.
Super legit.
And,
I take the stress, or do I take the stress, or does she take the stress?
I think it's going to be Darius that takes the stress.
I was gonna be like, I would like to take the stress. In this particular situation, I would volunteer to take the stress if it's between the two of us.
Alrighty, y'all. So because I can never run just to one shot, we are at our 3-hour mark here. So let me jump forward real quick and paint our little scene as you have gathered half of your supplies you needed for refixing the transformer junction box. You're about a fourth of the way through getting some of the scrap and parts to kind of patch up some of these generators. You know you're going to need to keep going, but keeping going means you have to get into Pinecrest, which is where the State University of Pinecrest, or SUP, they're just douchey all around, y'all, exists, and where these Alpha Sigmas, Alpha Omegas, Alpha, what do we call them? Shit, I don't remember. They change. They just add different Greek letters.
We threw every Greek word we could find, Greek letter on there we could find.
They're alpha betas, okay?
Big betas.
They're beta omegas.
Yeah.
But you patch up, you gather some of your things, you get in the vehicle, you start driving for a bit. You're a little bit more on watch as you go. And kind of coming into town is a bit of a hill. It's kind of down in more of a valley. And the college is one of the first things you can kind of see. Still in the distance, it's not like you're immediately, though obviously there's probably some watch. But I want to paint a picture as you are maybe in the tree lines, taking a look, seeing if you see any guards, any sort of like people, any sort of corrupted, it's starting to snow. That snow is starting to come down. It's a little darker. Most of this town is dark. No lights, no electricity. The college, though, does, as you see, have lights on. But specifically, you see the football stadium lights are on. And we'll say for ease, it's within view. Maybe you got a couple of binoculars you're passing around. You see quite a few of these vehicles in various areas. There's definitely some military outposts and quarantine zones that clearly are not run by military anymore, as this like blue and yellow tags are over like the military signs and stuff, as they've clearly kind of taken over this area. But in this football field, you see so many people. It's like some in the stands and a bunch down on the field. But you notice what's on the field aren't these Alpha, Sigma, Omega, Beta, Tri, Deltas, whatever. It is filled with corrupted in various levels, just walking around, some of them trying to climb up, but there's like razor wire to keep them from being able to get up in the stands and really get a hold there. As it seems, a lot of these Alpha, Beta, Sigma, Delta, whatevers are having some sort of rally, some sort of meeting, some sort of they are about to do something, as you can hear kind of a megaphone of someone. And the last thing you can really hear as we close is the entire crowd kind of chant together, "Hold on, for Stormlord 42," and a big yell goes out. And that's where we'll end.
Oh, no.
As
his legacy lives on.
His legacy lives on, y'all.
That was not poggers.
Not poggers at all.
That's what people say.
All right, real quick. Let's see. Was it Navaar? Did you have the hard out? Who? I don't see.
Yeah, I saw some time. Yeah, 10 minutes.
Okay,
yeah.
well, let's start with you on our outros anyway. If you will tell us who you are, what you got going on, and where people can get this wonderful game that you have created.
Yeah. I've been Navaar. You can find me on social media at Navaar SNP. That's NAVAAR SNP, like Secret Nerd Podcast. You can find the podcast wherever you pod, and also on social media at Secret NRD Social. Again, if you have enjoyed this and you want more Corrupted, check out the new AP series that's on the show. We just did a talkback that we decided we were going to do the week of premiere, and we'll continue to do those every week. And if you enjoyed the game and you want to check it out, you can head over to navaarsmp.itch.io and find it there if you just want a digital copy. However, if you are like Taylor and I and enjoy having a physical book, then head on over to plusoneexp.com and just search The Corrupted, because there is a link, but it's difficult to say because there's too many hyphens. But yeah, check it out over there. That's who published it for me, and I know that we're getting ready to order some more prints. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Yeah.
And yeah, just follow me on social media. That's where you can find all my stuff. But I just want to say before I am done with my outro, Taylor, you did incredible. This is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the plot lines and the things that you threw us, and this is a lot of fun. And you other three are absolutely wonderful to play with, and this is good. Yeah, thank you.
Let's see. Let's go. I'll go like reverse order that we went. So Blair, will you tell us what you got going on and all of the goodies?
Sure. Hi, I'm Blair, or _ Canadian Moose all over the place. I've been playing Allison, and I can't wait to come back and hang out with all you guys and figure out if she's dead or not. So, yeah, no, this is great fun, and I'm super excited that we get an episode 2, because I want to play more. I'm hooked. I'm hooked already. But yeah, so what you can normally find me here at HSC, or playing in the Thirsty Sword Lesbians campaign over on Entropy Emporium. We do not have a game tomorrow, but we have a game next Friday. So there's that, and stuff is really heating up. That's a great game. See, in this game, getting that claw across the chest, it's really scary. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? In that game, I have a move where like my shirt would have ripped off and it would have been hot as hell. So I'm really sad that that it was, wrong game for that to happen.
Listen, you technically could have lost your shirt because that was what happened on the condition. I'm just saying.
Sure,
I understand what you did, but also it's in the game too. Let's be fair.
I will say, if we're gonna get it, like maybe if Allison gets this like redemption where she like goes from scaredy cat to like badass, she's wearing a sports bra and just like bandaged up now, so it's like still looking good. But anyway, so I have that game that's still going on. That's super fun. Definitely check that out. The next time I'll be on HSC, like we said earlier, is the Off the Shelf on the 28th. Talking about, there's a lot of us talking about job stuff. If you didn't know, I've taught over in Asia as a ESL instructor for 4 years, 2 years in Korea and 2 years in Japan. And I just wanted to talk about my experience and give a few tips and tricks on not how to be a dumbass American when you go to another country. So yeah, good stuff there. That's not physically
possible. I'm American through and through.
Paul is a smart ass American. Can you fix that?
Yeah. No, she only has tips for dumbass, not smart ass.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. All right, America.
There's some stuff that I've seen some expats do that I'm like, guys, please, for the love of God. So just kind of it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see what questions people have, because I always get that. Well, how do you do that? And now I get to tell you. But yeah, so that's kind of all
impression
I got
of your mom there.
It usually it's usually my mom's friends that are like, well, my little, Rebecca Land wants to go do that. How did you even get started? And I'm like, sure, I'll tell you how.
That voice hurts my soul and my inside parts, by the way.
I'll stop talking now.
There's so much other connotation when I hear those name and that voice combination. I'm like, I'm not safe anymore. Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
It's Dallas area white people, so you're not too terribly off on some of those. Mark J, will you continue?
Absolutely. Thank you. I've been Mark J. Wow, yeah, you can find me doing all kinds of things. We are celebrating Black History Month at Apochromatic Unlimited. You can go to Apochromatic-Unlimited.io and check out our zine. We have many interviews coming up to still celebrate Black History Month, including I'm doing a nunshot with Candace the Magnificent, as well as Dare, who is still magnificent, and more. We've got a really cool game coming up this Friday, the 16th of February, ran by the one and only Honey and Dice, and a really wonderful cast of players. And we're finishing up Paul's game that I named NIMBY, Not in My Backyard, because it's white people coming messing up black people stuff as usual. And then a game being ran by VJ Harris, who is also one of the members of Apocalyptic Unlimited, and it's going to be fantastic. So we're doing all kinds of cool stuff for Black History Month. Also, you can check out my podcast, Nunshot, where I interview cool people like Navaar, like Paul, and I interviewed Taylor, but the audio was fucked up because it was like my third interview, and I didn't know how to do audio. Anyway, I look at the intersection between culture, race, and the TTRPG space, and it's a fun podcast. And also, I will say publicly right here, my podcast was inspired by the one and only Secret Nerd podcast. So holla at your boy.
Hey.
And that's all I got.
Also, go to Paul.
Hey everybody, I'm Paul. I've been here being ridiculous, as apparently we all now know I'm a smart-ass American, not a dumbass American. That's as per Blair and the Declaration. You can find me on Apocalyptic doing things for Black History Month. You can also find me there playing some video games. They're walking me through Genshin right now and mocking me aimlessly. So if you want to see me be the butt of a joke, Ashton and Max can tell me how much I don't know how this game works. Also this is coming out in March, is it not? Or early March, late March?
Thursday.
Nope. Thursday. Sweet.
2 days
Excellent.
from now.
So going into March, I believe we might be doing some stuff with Taylor on APOC. So keep an eye out for that. There might be a game that might be Mass Effect inspired with some people getting shepherded. And by that, I mean the beginning of Mass Effect 2. So if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But you can also find me here on HSC for Worldwide Wrestling for the next 5 months, and where I am playing our technical wrestling champ over here, former lightweight champion, now going for the middleweight title, brand new heel stable. We're good and ridiculous. It's super fun. Apparently, I'm now the wrestling expert as well. That's what I've just been told by like a handful of people in that game. And apparently my announcer voice is where it's at. That's what
it's so good. It's so good.
There are a lot of
great.
If you know wrestling, there's a lot of deep inside cuts. I have not got to say no one kicks out of the Falcon Arrow yet, which makes me sad because I want to get there while I'm doing announcement. But that's that. Yeah, we're here.
Awesome. And then I'm Taylor. I've been your GM today and most of the time over here. You can find me at Potato on Blue Sky, put underscores on other. I don't know. My branding sucks and social media is burning. But yeah, you can find me here every other Tuesday playing Werewolf for as long as that lasts, if it is still going, because we may die. We may have already died on Tuesday. I don't know. Go watch it and tell me. Tell me. Come back
in the future.
Let me know. Yeah. Die every other Saturday right here on HSC, as well as Moonlight on Roseville Beach will be the next Saturday, and then 2 Saturdays after that. We also have Off the Shelf, like Blair mentioned, and next week Divination will be coming to the channel for a 2-shot Friday and the following Friday. Ran by some of the creators of the game and with a beautiful, wonderful cast.
Ooh, adding on to that, just because I saw it earlier, the first part is kind of like the session 0. So if you want to know like how to set it up and everything, that's going to be in it, which is really cool. I think that's a really cool part of it, to get that, like, how do you dive into this?
Right.
And then the second part is going to be like the playing. So sorry.
What is this?
It's going to be very good. You can also find me every other Monday on Lost Caravan playing Lancer. And by playing Lancer, I mean being a giant asshole and pretending I know how to use the mech that Paul built me. So far, doing great. So far, yes. I'm on it.
Great to hear.
As well as every other Saturday playing Fabula Ultima for your TTJRPG goodness. It's so good. 10 out of 10. Do you recommend? Oh my God. I am the most powerful magic user in the world. Just by base rules. It's great. As well as Fridays, like Blair said, for Lust and Dust. We appreciate you all for watching. Thank you so much to our player. Thank you so much, Navaar, for joining us and making this wonderful game. It was an absolute blast. I appreciated having you be kind of the voice of reason and some rules and kind of help and push us along. That's like my favorite thing about a game, especially watching APs, is like, how does that work? And getting to kind of see it. So hopefully everyone watching also got the use of that. But yeah, maybe we'll see this group again. And if Stormlord 46 is going to be avenged, or if our players will get electricity in the city again.
42.
It's 42. There's a lot of them.
It's a different number every time. Yeah, it's a different number.
Different number and multiple different Greek letters.
His parents wouldn't let him do 420.
That's what it was.
And so he
There
will
it is.
And so do I,
Yeah, yeah, I love
And
it.
so he became the answer to life, the meaning, and everything else in the universe.
Definitely, he does not know that reference though, so
Okay.
it was by accident. But
We do though.
we
here.
do though, and that's part
And
of
if
the
you
joke.
don't, go look it up.
Yes. But love y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm sure someone is being rated. Future Taylor's gonna make it happen. Who is it? I don't know. You'll find out now.
Look in the chat.
Future Taylor.